Lord knows a nigga try, man. But it's a struggle. On my mama, on my soul. Yeah. I miss my niggas who died young in the game, and that's a shame. Lord knows I maintain. I have to smoke a blunt so I won't go insane. The fame and glory don't mean shit to me. I give it all back just to see my homie Trey Lee and Curtis. Old school Tracy, my uncle Sonny, they meant the world of me. Now some say that I gotta move on, but how can I when it seems like another nigga gone? But I hold on to my paper and pen and ask the Lord to keep my head in the wind. 3 strikes you out, ain't no files in this game. From the streets to the county, now on the chain to a 2-man cell that's hotter than a plane. Ain't no.
Oh, come on.
I've been fighting my worst demons.
Know what I'm saying? Too real. Hobo. Monkey man. Lord knows a nigga try, man. But it's a struggle. On my mama, on my soul. Yeah. I miss my niggas who died young in the game, and that's a shame. Lord knows I maintain. I have to smoke a blunt so I won't go insane. The fame and glory don't mean shit to me. I give it all back just to see my homie Trey Lee and Curtis P. Old school Tracy, my uncle Sonny, they meant the world of me. Now some say that I gotta move on, but how can I when it seems like another nigga gone? But I hold on to my paper and pen and ask the Lord to keep my head in the wind. 3 strikes you out, ain't no files in this game. From the streets to the county, now on the chain to a 2-man cell that's hotter than a plane. Ain't no thing to see a nigga die. That's every day, 24/7, 365 on the fight.
You know, I've been fighting real hard in these motherfucking streets, man. Hobo. You know, I be trying so hard, man. Keep my head above the water. Now, Lord, help me to change my ways. I'm sick and tired of looking on my shoulders every day. So many things, Lord, I know I done wrong. Sometimes it seems like I just can't seem to hold on. And these hating ass niggas, yeah, they hate to see me ride. That's why I do what I do, and I just keep getting hot. You can see it in my eyes. I'm tired of the jealousness and envy, knowing that it be the closest niggas to me. Now tell me, Lord, is there a better way? Don't want to live like this here for the rest of my day. Not poverty and hard time and scandalous bitches. Niggas wanna put me in my grave. I'm tired of digging these ditches. Now tell me, Lord, is there a better way for me? Let me know that you're here and you still care for me. It's society. Don't give a damn about a nigga. Predators sending us to war just to kill each other. I've been fighting mine.
Worst demons. Sometimes it feels like they're a part of me. Lord knows I tried, but it's been so hard for you. It's hard to hear me.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Tabernacle. My bad, y'all. My bad. Welcome to another episode of the Tabernacle. We in the building. Y'all know what I like to do. Man. How I like to start off every show. We're going to start it off like this, man. Let's keep everybody in our thoughts, prayers, views, and meditations. Once again, let's keep everyone in our thoughts, our prayers, our views, and meditations. And one last time, family, let's keep everyone in our thoughts, our prayers, our views, and meditations. That's people we come in contact with on a daily basis. People record you with our families, our extended family. You feel me? And more especially our family right here on this channel, man. Because without y'all, like I say, man, this wouldn't be possible. So, you know what I'm saying? Big ups to everybody that, you know what I'm saying, tap in every day, man, and, you know, engage with the chat and rock out with us. Secondly, don't forget to master those 5 key components of life. That's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration.
Once again, y'all, that's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. And one last time for those in the back, that's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. And don't forget the most important part about that, man. That's that glue that hold everything together, man. You know what I'm saying? That's that support. So don't forget to E40 that thing and sprinkle a little support on top. Because a little support go a long, 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 long way, y'all. You feel me? Hey, if you don't believe me, man, try it out. You know what I'm saying? See if it worked for you. You know what I'm talking about? If it don't, come on back. You feel me? Let's talk about it. Let's see what happened, what went wrong, and let's see if we can try to fix that. You feel me? But other than that, man, how everybody doing on this beautiful, what's this, Sunday? You know what I'm saying? The 7th day of the strong, y'all. This is the last day. Well, my bad. It's not the 7th day. I'm sorry. This is the first day of the strong. You feel me? I know, you regular folks, you know what I'm saying, call Sunday the 7th day, but it's actually the first day, you know what I'm saying, of the week. You feel me? He say, sprinkle me, baby. You feel me? You got to sprinkle that support on top, man. You know, that's that season, man. You know how you season your shit, you feel me? You don't want to overseason, underseason. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, today, man, we're going to get into, you know what I'm saying, the history of Judaism. You feel me? We're going to check out this little video. And listen, I know the people say they like for me to stop and whoop the bam. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to do that today. I'm going to stop and, you know what I'm saying, give my little whoop the bam here and there throughout the publication. So, listen, what we like to do here on Sundays, man, we like to get into all things theology. You know what I'm saying? All schools of thoughts. You feel me? We like to talk about it, discuss. As of late, I've been playing videos, you know, to try to inform the people and get people more into, you know what I'm saying, what we do here on Sunday versus just talking or hearing, you know what I'm saying, our talking points. But yeah, last week, you know what I'm saying, with the North mythology, and y'all was right, you know, most people don't know about it. So, you know what I'm saying, me just playing it without giving a little bit of expository information about it. You know what I'm saying, was kind of threw people off. So today we're gonna get into Judaism, the history of the Jews and the Jewish history. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get into this little Jewish history document. And let's see if we can unearth any fallacies. And again, not to be contentious, not to be malicious, but you know, this is a learning process. So, you know, we're here to learn, we're here to grow, we're here to have experiences with each other. So, you know, we always want to be positive as we can. You know what I'm saying? Because again, like I say, we're not going against nobody. It's just, you know, what we do. You know what I'm saying? Two wheels in the building, panel security here. We got Fanboy in the building. Before we get started with this video and cutting and stopping and listen. While y'all on the panel, man, if you're on the panel, do this. So the video like an hour. So while y'all on the panel, man, if you say stop, if y'all want to get into a particular thing that they say or whatever the case may be, let me know. And we can do this together. I know Fanboy, I know you know, you know what I'm saying? I know you know a little few things and you know what I'm saying? But hey, and don't hesitate, man. If you hear some shit that's suspicious, if you hear some shit that you think ain't correct, or if you want to interject and throw your own little shit in there, just let me know. And we most definitely will get to it. We most definitely will get to it. Two wheels, just panel security. I know panel security in the building. You know what I'm saying? You know, and listen, this is not to disrespect. This is not to undermine. This is not to go ahead and talk about anybody's personal belief system. That's not what we're here for, and that's not what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? We're definitely not doing that. So, you know.
But your head of security was late.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, panel security always late, man. I don't know what the fuck be going on. Security, man. Security always late, man.
Man,
Yeah,
I was on time today, nigga.
since you wasn't there too well, I'm finna do a sticker.
Yeah, I was on time today, nigga. Yeah, you was. We'll put us at the bottom. But yeah, man, you know, I want to get into this Judaism shit, man, and let's check it out. Cause you know, we always talking about, you know what I'm saying? Everybody else, but other than, you know what I'm saying, these folks, you know, these folks is kind of taboo. You know, a lot of people don't, you can't talk about them, but let's check out their history. Let's see what they got going on. Let's see how they came about. You feel me? This is a subject that I do know a little bit about. You feel me? Know a little bit about everything, but you know, it's not like it's what's like Taoism or Samboism or Hinduism, things like that. Because I really, what I'm saying, I learn when y'all learn, you know what I'm saying? Because those are something that I haven't necessarily attached myself to, you feel me? But yeah, man, let's get into this video, man. Hit that like button as y'all come in. Hit that like button as y'all come in. Don't forget to tap into one of the memberships that we got on the channel. And man, hopefully everybody enjoy themselves. Let's go, man. Let's start this video. Look, listen, and what's crazy is I already know when I start this motherfucking video, man, I already know, man, I'm gonna be pausing like a motherfucker, but maybe not. But excuse me, but before we do go any further, and I do play this video, so I'm gonna let everybody know, man, the thoughts, views, and opinions of Bearded Conversations are the thoughts, views, and opinion of me and my panelists right now. Once again, the thoughts, views, and opinions of Bearded Conversation or Bearded Tabernacle are the thoughts, views, and opinions of me and my panelists right now. We don't mean to hurt, to harm, or to offend. Once again, we don't mean to hurt, to harm, or to offend. This video stream is for informational, educational, and edutainment purposes only. Once again, this video stream is for informational, educational, and edutainment purposes only, with the underlying and undertone on edutainment. So we do emphasize and stress edutainment. Please do not take any advice given or any articulation given or anything shown on this video stream for face value without consulting a proper professional that suits your specific needs. Meaning, if I'm playing this video and it's about Judaism, please go talk to a rabbi. Please go talk to someone of the Jewish faith. Don't go talk to no Muslim. Well, listen, and I'm not gonna say that neither, because you don't say. But I would appreciate if you go talk to someone who's actually had experiences in this. Not saying that a person who studies and is not part of the religion or part of the faith couldn't inform you, but a lot of people are biased in how they feel and how they think. You feel me? So if you want to, go straight get information, I would say go straight to the source and then go to the outside things, and then you can start to use your discernment. Then you can start analyzing and doing comparative analysis and putting things together. You feel me? But yeah, man, we don't want y'all, doing none of that. You feel me? So please consult the proper professional that suits your specific needs. Please do your proper work. Please do your due diligence. Please do your proper research, because we don't want you going out here starting on revolts, robbing no banks, telling your boss what he or she could take, how they can turn it sideways, and where to put it, because we do not want you blaming it on Bearded Tabernacle or Bearded Conversation. Now, with that being said, with the disclaimer, let's get into this video and let's learn something.
Jews, Hebrews, Israelites, the chosen people. They are known by many names and are one of the oldest people inhabiting the world today.
So first, Jews, Hebrews, Israelites. Hebrew is not a thing. Hebrew is a language. That's first. I hate when they do that shit. In any Masoretic Hebrew is a language. It's not a people. Even when they say Hebrew Israelite, no, you're not a Hebrew Israelite. You're an Israelite. If you're gonna claim it the right way. You're Israelite. And in my opinion, in my research, and from my understanding, Israelites ain't nothing but Canaanites. But hey, we'll get into that a little bit later. But hey, yeah. But I already knew I was gonna stop at Hebrews and Israelite. Man, yeah, Israelite. Hebrew is the language. You can look this up. And if I get some time, I'll look it up to show you guys.
And yet their true history is relatively unknown. They made a covenant with God, whose names they are forbidden to even pronounce. Since very early in their history, they witnessed miracles and interacted with supernatural beings. Jewish sages and Kabbalists are possessors of an amazing arcane knowledge few people have access to. In this documentary, we will delve deep into the entire history of the Jews, from their origins to the present day. Welcome.
I wonder if they're gonna have the Talmud in this, y'all, because the Talmud is a book of rabbinical indoctrination. So a group of scholastic rabbis, came together to put together the Talmud. I wonder if they're gonna have it in here. Let's see.
In 1896, legendary Egyptologist and archaeologist Sir William Flinders Petrie made an incredible discovery in the sands of Thebes, Egypt. He and his team uncovered a 10-foot-high black granite slab, completely covered in hieroglyphic scripture and drawings. It was a celebratory inscription made by Pharaoh Merneptah, who...
So, and hold on. So they found a 10-foot slab with hieroglyphs, right? and they finna. So I don't know if they finna make the correlation to it being Jewish, or whatever the case may be. But we're gonna check it out because they do say that the people of Egypt, what I'm saying, held the Jewish people in captive. And Moses was supposed to went up there, man, told God, what am I gonna tell Pharaoh? He told him, tell him, what I'm saying, who sent me, say, tell him I am that I am. He's supposed to go to Pharaoh, free his people, part the Red Sea. I'm skipping things. Because I do want to play the video, but I'm pretty sure, you guys know the story of that and the Jews being in persecution. And that's the reason. And that's the reason why they was out in the wilderness for 40 years and all that shit. Let's carry on.
Ruled Egypt between 1213 and 1203 BCE. Most of the Merneptah stele describes his victory against the Libyan invaders who threatened his reign and his predecessors, Ramesses the Great. Libya was known at the time as the land of the 9 bows because they were unbeatable in ranged combat. Merneptah, however, crushed them.
Also, another thing to note, it hasn't been proven yet, but scholars tend and want to believe, and it's a crazy, I'm not going to say crazy, but it's a theory or it's a hypothesis going around that Ramses, one of the Ramses could have possibly been Moses, and that, what I'm saying, a lot of the biblical names were changed or reformulated, but what I'm saying, you can actually, if you do the research and history of the lineage, you can actually place those biblical names in Egypt and make reference to, what I'm saying, those biblical names being Egyptian people.
By attacking from all sides with loose, fast cavalry. Egyptians were known for disliking empty spaces, so at the end of the stele, when the Libyan campaign description was finished, the royal scribe added a few lines detailing another, minor campaign by Pharaoh Merneptah, this time to Canaan. The stele reads, "The princes are prostrate, saying peace. No one raises his head among the 9 bows. Desolation is for Tekenu. Hatti is pacified. Plundered is the Canaan with every evil. Carried off is Askaluni, seized upon."
Plunders the Canaan of every evil. I'm trying to tell y'all, these so-called Israelites are the people of Canaan. People don't want to agree with it. People don't want to, man, if you do your digging and you do your real history and your real research, that's where it comes from. The Jewish people of the day, like the Khazar Jews and the other different variation of Jews that you see, they that color not only be through admixture, but through conquering and admixture, not just straight admixture. We ain't just crossing, we just traveling and we seeing people and we follow. No. Motherfuckers is coming through all throughout time. The coast of the continent of Africa, Alkebulan rather, was attacked. Always at the northern borders or the coastal borders, even from the Americas. You know what I'm saying? It was always around the coast and around the, you know what I'm saying, around those lines where the attackers were coming from, especially the Hyksos. The Hyksos or Habaru is where they try to tell you the word Hebrew comes from, but that's not true as well. They're more of a and I hate to say the Middle East, but you guys know the Middle East, but I consider the Middle East as Africa as well, or I consider the Middle East as being part of the continent of Kebalan as well, but a lot of people would disagree. That's why you find a lot of Arabs or people, that's in that region, that geographical region. They'll tell you they're descendants of Asia versus being descendants of Africa. And then, this is where you get the Asiatic black men because, at one point in time, the Nation of Islam and also the Muslim faith or the Mohammedan faith believe that, the whole world, or, we call it a Pangea, but it was once called Asia. You feel me? But we'll get into that a little bit later too. You know what I'm saying? But let's get to it.
Is Gezer. Yanoam is made non-existent. Israel is laid waste. Its seed is no more. Kaharu has become a widow because of Egypt. All lands together are pacified. Everyone who was restless has been found. One name stands out among the others. This is in fact the first attestation of the name Israel. It is clear that they were well-established neighbors to Egypt, and even more, a palpable threat to their power. Otherwise, they would not even be named in such an important royal document. More interesting is the fact that the first known mention of the people of Israel describes precisely their defeat. The stele claims its seed is no more, implying that Egypt killed every last one of the Israeli men. And perhaps they thought they did, but somehow the people of Israel managed to survive and build an impressive heritage. As we will see throughout this video, this theme of destruction, survival, and resurrection will will become common in Jewish history. Now, before we continue, we must address a common historical misconception. According to the biblical books of Genesis and Exodus, Israel's living in the Nile Delta were captured and enslaved by the Egyptian pharaoh. The official story says that when Egyptian kings decided to build the pyramids, they used Israeli slaves, which they called Hebrews. Actually, the only thing that is real in such a story is the name, as Hebrew is in fact how the Egyptians called nomadic Israelites, to distinguish them from other Canaanites. The truth is, the pyramids were already there by the time most of the Merneptah stele describes his victory against.
Again, that is not fucking true. Hebrew is a language. It is not a people. So, what the shit? So, a good book to get, when you want to understand the differentials between the different races and different people, or different schools of thoughts, you know what I'm saying, that were privy at that time, is it's a good book by Dr. Czech Anti-Diop. It's called African Civilization, Myth or Reality. It's a great book.
Is real in such a story is the name, as Hebrew is in fact how the Egyptians called nomadic Israelites, to distinguish them from other Canaanites. The truth is, the pyramids were already there by the time Jews appeared in history.
And did y'all hear him say that's how they used to describe them from other Canaanites? They were all fucking Canaanites. And everybody of that time were nomads, you feel me? Even gypsies, like you get a certain, I know people have heard of gypsies. The gypsies claim to not have a home because they claim to be nomadic. So, but they had to come from a place where, you know what I'm saying, where they settled before they started becoming nomadic. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? And it was around in that region here. But let's go.
And Egyptians would never allow foreigners so close to all their most important secrets that were buried within the pyramids. During the time of Ramesses II, also known as Ramesses the Great, short before Pharaoh Merneptah published his now famous stele, a Hebrew magician by the name of Moses arrived in Egypt. The Bible claims that he was prompted to free the Hebrew slaves by the one true God, Yahweh, who presented himself in the form of a burning bush at the top of Mount Horeb. But the truth is much more interesting than that. As we have stated, there were no Hebrew slaves in Egypt. The only Hebrews that lived in Egypt had established themselves in the northern Delta area, a green, fertile zone where they cultivated their foods and traded with nomadic Canaanites and Libyans. Yahweh was a warrior god, a supernatural entity capable of enormous destruction and revenge, and he despised the polytheistic Egyptians. However, Israelites were not ready to fight against the mighty armies of Egypt at the height of their power, and those who lived in the Delta
So real quick, y'all, let me do this real quick. So it's now again, you know, a lot of things have changed, have been reframed, but I'm gonna give y'all this quick little Google shit real quick. So I asked it, so Hebrew is both. Historically, it is the ancient Semitic language of the Jewish people. This is why I'm saying Hebrew is a language, it is not the people. But I guess this is about them saying both, I guess, because it's the language of the people. So you could say Hebrew is the people. I get it, but no, Hebrew is a language, which it is now the official language of modern Israel. Hebrew is also the ethnonym used historically to describe the ancient Israelite people themselves. You know what I'm saying? So and so basically they were describing them by their dialect, their tongue of what they spoke. So it's not actually a people, it's not actually a description. They're actually calling them by the language that they spoke, because they spoke a different language than the other Canaanites. So it's to differentiate. I'm sorry. Here's how the term breaks down. The language of Hebrew belongs to the Afro-Asiatic language. Now listen to this. Listen to this shit. See, and these things are important. And I got y'all. I see why we, you know what I'm saying, we're just talking. So if Hebrew belongs to an Afro-Asiatic language, why the fuck don't the Hebrews of the day? I'm sorry, look, y'all gotta be saying Hebrew. Why the small hats of the day don't look nothing Afrocentric about them? So Afrocentric language. Hebrew belongs to the Afro-Asiatic, language family, and is the language in which the Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh, is written. So the Tanakh is just like the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible. The New Testament is not considered the Tanakh, for those that, you know what I'm saying, don't know. And we're not going to get into the Septuagint. We're not going to even go there. So after evolving into various dialects, see, this is what I'm saying. This is why they use Hebrew as a description for the language. It's not really a people. So when they say Hebrew, it was just describing what they spoke or that particular language, that it would still sound like classism and racism even back in the day. You feel me? Because you're separating the people from their tongue and their dialect. But I digress on that point. So after evolving into various dialects and serving primary as a liturgical language for centuries, it was revived as the spoken tongue in the late 19th and early 20th century. Today, it is spoken approximately by 9 million people. The people historically that turn Hebrew Israelite, because that's what people say, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, instead of just saying I'm an Israelite, because if you're an Israelite, you speak Hebrew. So that's why it's kind of an oxymoron. And Jew, and see, now here we go. Now they're separating Hebrew Israelite and Jew. And that's what I want to get. Hopefully, I don't know if this video gonna get into the separation between Hebrew Israelites and a Jew. And maybe we'll do that next week if I can find something on it. We're often used interchangeably. So listen, historically, the terms Hebrew Israelite and Jew were often used interchangeably, but you can't, because we have Black Hebrew, so-called Hebrew Israelites, and now they don't even call themselves Hebrew Israelites anymore. They call themselves fucking Israelites. But so so they were used interchangeably. So now this is how we can say this shit got took, this shit got stolen. Because even when you read the Bible and you see these stories that Hollywood put on TV, you know, we just read that it was an Afro-Asiatic language that's not spoken by nobody Afro or fucking Asiatic. I mean, and that's the truth. You watch any movie or any historical person or anybody that want to come up here and give you the Bible. Now, of course, you're gonna get some people that say no. But yeah, man, those people in that book, and when they put it in charge to Heston, is not Moses, man. That's some old dark-skinned individual. So ancient Hebrews were the ancestors of modern. Listen to this. Ancient Hebrews were the ancestors of modern Jewish people, and modern English Hebrew always often refers to the language itself, while Jewish or Jew refers to the people in their ethnicity and religion. See, now, how can the Jewish people relate? See, and this is the trick, bro, and this is the foolery, and this is the fuckery, and this is the indoctrination. How can Jewish have ancestors of a motherfucker that don't look like them? When we see Jewish people today, man, don't know Jewish motherfucker look like me, and don't know Jewish motherfucker look like somebody that came from Canaan. Excuse my profane language at the time, but I'm just trying to, you know, give y'all a, you know what I'm saying, some energy with it. But come on, bro, they didn't even look like they not ancestors. Don't get me wrong, we are to a degree, because people are people, and we all one race, and that's the human race. I get that. You know what I'm saying? But if we're gonna go through science, DNA, and mutation, and the haplogroups and all that, they not the same people. They're not even ancestors. Not even close. So it says Hebrew almost refers to the language itself, while Jewish or Jews is used to refer to the people in their ethnicity and religion. See, and the religion ain't even Jewish, the religion is Judaism. You know what I'm saying? But let's get back to the video, y'all. I just wanted to interject.
Preferred to worship the Egyptian gods and live at their leisure instead of surviving in the desert. This angered Yahweh. He then sent a single man, Moses, to assert the power of the one God, Yahweh, and asked the Egyptians to deport Hebrews to the desert. Moses and his brother...
And every time we watch any of these videos, you say everybody white, and how I just read that the fucking Hebrew. Now, mind you, now, this is the depiction of back then. It just said it was an Afro-Asiatic group. Why don't nobody look Afro-Asiatic on this motherfucking video?
Aaron appeared before the Pharaoh and asked him to free the Israelites. The Pharaoh then demanded that Moses perform a miracle as proof of his prowess as a magician. Aaron then throws down the staff of Moses to the ground, where it turns into a giant snake. This did not impress the Pharaoh, who instructed his court magicians to do exactly the same. Every Egyptian magician was...
Hey, speaking of Aaron, Psalms, what is it? Psalms 133 is one of my favorite scripture quotes. Even though I don't read the Bible, but those is one of them. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with that. How good and pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. It is like a precious ointment. Like that's dope. Like outside of the Bible shit, like if you really take some of that shit and just apply it to your life without saying it's a God or Jesus or Moses, like those words, you feel me? Like you can kind of relate just with any book or with anything. You know what I'm saying? If you have experiences and you live it, you can kind of relate to a lot of this shit.
Easily able to summon a snake out of thin air, but then Moses' snake devoured the others. The Pharaoh considered this to be an insolence, and so he threw both Moses and Aaron out of his palace. Moses then goes back into the desert and relates what happened in Egypt to Yahweh, who then takes matters into his hands. He made Moses return to Egypt to ask the Pharaoh to free the Israelites. He did this 7 times, and after every time Pharaoh refused, Yahweh would release a new plague.
Yeah, he released a new plague, and this is where see, and then this is where a lot of people ask the question, why did God harden Pharaoh's heart? Because it says that God hardened his heart. So and when you harden someone's heart, that means you make that person null and void to empathy, or to what the people of the land got going on. So if there's a God and God is really trying to get you up out of this promise, and then they'll spin it. Well, he's testing you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we know God is woo out the bam and he can do all this, that, and the third. Yeah, he's going to harden Pharaoh's heart because he want to see if you really going to go out and do what he going to do. He want to know if you really going to go out and rescue these people in the midst of, all this turmoil and disaster. You feel me? And that's the trick, bro. That's the indoctrination, bro. Like, that's how you get these little motherfuckers to join these gangs and to join these little clubs and shit like that, and these little cliques out here, man. You feel me? But I digress. Let's continue.
Pharaoh's magicians, much more powerful than Moses, were easily able to counter the first plagues, turning the Nile to blood and producing a plague of frogs. The third plague, an invasion of gnats or mosquitoes, was not so easy to offset, and Moses told the Pharaoh that the only way to remove the plagues was for Hebrews to worship Yahweh. Pharaoh then instructed the Hebrews in the Nile Delta to worship Moses' God in order to get rid of the other plagues: flies, death of livestock, boils, thunderstorms of hail and fire, and locusts. After the latter, finally, Ramesses the Great agreed to expel the Hebrews from Egypt, and they became followers of Moses, who led them to the desert east of the Nile. The 7 plagues of Egypt were not directed against the Egyptians themselves, but against the Hebrews that lived in Egypt. They were considered heathens.
And then I got a question. Like, back in them days, bro, if it really was plagues and shit, we was trying to get up out of there, yeah, we gonna let them get up out of there. But they chased them all the way to the waters, and he had them motherfuckers going across the water with their horses. And then when Moses closed the sea, you know what I'm saying, it flooded their ass. But gee, I'm telling y'all, like, the motherfuckers had to steal or take something, or they had to know something in order for Pharaoh to follow them like that. I'm telling y'all, man, just like when y'all see, and listen, bad comparison, but I'm gonna use it. Just like when y'all seen Cassie running through that motherfucking hallway, and Diddy picked up that purse and looked into that purse. What the fuck was what? I'm not condoning him grabbing her, throwing her down to the ground and kicking her, none of that shit. But why he picked that motherfucking purse up and looking at that purse like she took something from him? You feel me? See, this is what y'all be missing, bro. Y'all see the bad part of the reaction of what a motherfucker do, because sometimes people don't have to react that way. Even on this internet, man, when a motherfucker make a video about you, bro, you ain't got to go make 100 and 1,000 videos and reaction. Because sometimes it makes you look crazy. Now, if you defending yourself on the one video and that's it. But the back and forth with 1,000 videos to explain this, that, no, we ain't got to do that. But I think those people weren't liberated. I think they stole some shit, and that's why Pharaoh chased their ass down to that motherfucking sea. But I could be wrong. Let's get back to the video.
Because they abandoned their original faith only to live a prosperous, easy life in Egypt. This is proven by another story from the Bible, featuring the famous golden calf. When Moses went up to Mount Sinai to receive the 10 Commandments directly from God, Israels were left at the base of the mountain for 40 days and nights. They began losing faith, and even thought Moses had left them and would not come back, so they defied the rules of Yahweh, according to which it was forbidden to worship any image of a god. In fact, according to their religion, God cannot be looked at, depicted, or touched, and even his...
Also, and to speak of that too, man, Moses went up on that mountain twice. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why don't nobody say nothing, man. He dropped them joints on the way down or fucked them up on the way down, so he had to go back up to get them to come back. When he went back up to get them to come back, that's when he found out they had, you know what I'm saying, built them calves and shit like that, because they was looking for a substitute until he came back. You know, during that time, man, a lot of people, like, again, man, they had to explain the wonders of what was going on around them, and they didn't know how. So, you know what I'm saying, they pick and chose any and everything to worship or to, you know what I'm saying, make some type of, you know what I'm saying, connection with. You feel me? So let's continue.
His name cannot be said. Instead, Israelites refer to him as Elohim, the plural for gods, or Adonai, my Lord. but they can never utter the 4 letters that make Yahweh's name, known as the Tetragrammaton. At the base of Mount Sinai, Israel.
So did y'all hear him? Elohim, 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 plural for gods. So in the canon, they actually wanted the Anu, Elohim, and they actually wanted all that out of the Bible, but people don't particularly pay attention to that. People don't go get the concordance or apocrypha, and they don't actually, or the blue letter, which is the same thing, where they actually look up, you know what I'm saying, what these words mean of that time. And again, like I say, a lot of this shit is regurgitated and research done by other people. So I'm not saying that they're right, but I'm just giving you the contextual standpoint of what other scholars have said or what they're saying. You know what I'm saying? That sometimes seem a little troubling, you know? Let's carry on.
Israelites gathered all their golden rings and earrings, melted them, and made Aaron build an image of a calf. The bull is a very common deity in Egypt, named Apis. Apis was a god of the underworld, but also of fertility. And since many Hebrews had lived in Egypt and were worried about finding food in the desert, it was only natural that they turned to Apis for help, offering him sacrifices and burnt offerings. At the same time, Moses was up on the mountain, speaking to God. He gave him 2 tablets made of stone, and in each of them engraved 5 commandments, 10 in total. These were the main laws every Hebrew needed to obey if they wanted to please Yahweh. But then Moses came down and saw the calf. He was furious, as the Hebrews had broken 2
and 2 big ass stone slabs carved from the mountain. You really think Moses carried them bitches? Man, y'all stop it. Stop it.
Of the commandments. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, and thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. He burnt down the golden calf in a fire, ground it to powder, mixed it.
Hey, look, and look, and when you ask biblical or Bible thumpers or priests and stuff like that, when you ask them about those other gods, who is them other gods? It should be a thing of contention about you put nobody before me or jealousy, because if I'm him, I'm him. Everything else is just a subsidiary of what I got going on. So that shouldn't even be a mention, or that shouldn't even be you know what I'm saying, a form of contention for this so-called almighty great God. I mean, I'm thinking, this is just me talking, you know what I'm saying, if I want my people to follow, or if I want people to follow me, you know what I'm saying, if I'm real and if this is really what I'm doing, you know,
with water and forced the Israelites to drink that. In the biblical text, it is said that not every Israelite adored the calf. Now, at this point, a couple of precisions about the origins of Israelites are needed. The traditional ancestor of all Israelites is the patriarch Jacob, the twin brother of Esau. Rebekah, their mother, was told by Yahweh that her 2 children would grow up and found a great nation, but that Esau would end up serving Jacob. Esau founded Edom, and Jacob changed his name to Israel after meeting a mysterious stranger, an ancient astronaut who seemed to know all the secrets of the land. This was not the only meeting with extraterrestrial beings Jacob had. When he fled from his home in fear of his brother and sought refuge in Mesopotamia, he had a dream in which he was able to see a strange device that connected Earth and space. Not knowing a better...
Now, is it an ancient astronaut, or is it an angel? Now they going a little bit too far. Now they putting a little crackery in it, but we go rock with it.
Word for this transportation machine, he called it a ladder, and he could see extraterrestrials, which he deemed angels, traveling between Earth and the skies. This is where he met Yahweh himself. Yahweh descended to earth to tell Jacob that he had made a covenant with his grandfather Abraham. He promised Jacob that his people would rule the land of Canaan, provided he had many children to occupy it. So Jacob had 13 children and established himself in Egypt with some of them, but others dispersed around the north of Africa and Asia. His children each formed an independent tribe or extended family. However, the biblical story names only 12 tribes of Israel, and there has been speculation as to what happened to the lost 13th tribe. We will return to this topic later. The Bible is full of stories about people whose lives were incredibly long, and suggestively, all of these people had encounters with extraterrestrial beings. Jacob died in Egypt at the age of 147. This happened 500 years before Moses came to rescue the Hebrews from Egypt. Now, going back to Mount Sinai and the golden calf, it is said that only one of the tribes, called the Levites because they descended from one of Jacob's sons named Levi, refused to worship the golden calf. They were thus spared by Moses, but he unleashed his wrath against the rest of the tribes, murdering between 3,000 and 23,000 Jews that same night. From that night on, And only because Israelites engaged in the religious rites they had known for centuries, their whole generation was banned from entering the Promised Land. Only after they were all dead, their children could finally establish themselves in Canaan, the land of honey and milk. Also, from that point onwards, only members from the tribe of Levi could be considered Jewish priests. Now, who was this vengeful, incredibly cruel, and destructive God, Yahweh? Thanks to the work of historians, theologians, and archaeologists, we have come to learn a lot about religions in the ancient Near East. There is one exception, however. His name is shrouded in mystery, as it does not belong to any spoken language at the time. For this reason, it is speculated that his name is not of terrestrial origin, and for that same reason, his followers are prohibited from uttering his name. Not only this, Yahweh never disclosed his name to Jacob or Abraham. They had passed centuries worshiping an unknown God before revealing the 4 Hebrew letters of his name to Moses. The origins of the cult of Yahweh are much more transparent. The most widely accepted theory suggests that Yahweh originated as a minor deity in southern Canaan. Canaanites worshipped a plethora of minor deities, including Yahweh, Asherah, the mother goddess, and Baal, who also appears in the Bible as a challenger to Yahweh's supremacy in Israel. In early Canaanite mythology, Yahweh and Baal were merely 2 of the 70 children of their main god, El. Canaanites passed their worship of Yahweh, among others, to some nomadic tribes known as Shasu, who then dispersed this worship throughout the ancient world, including Egypt. The first historical document mentioning the god Yahweh is an inscription dating to the rule of Egyptian pharaoh Amenhotep III, a contemporary of Moses. At one point, the inscription talks about the Shasu of Yehu, and early scholars assumed that Yehu was the place of origin of the Shasu, but this is not likely due to the nomadic nature of the Shasu, who were constantly moving between northern Africa, the Arabian Peninsula, and Canaan. But Yahweh was not the typical Canaanite agricultural or weather god. He was a divine warrior. He was ambitious and did not stop until he was revered as the only god in the pantheon.
So for y'all that don't know, Yahweh was actually a storm god and a war god. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't the first god of Moses. And again, y'all, if y'all watched the movie The 10 Commandments, I don't know if y'all seen when Moses, when he came upon his lady, I forgot her name, and he asked her, said, "Who are y'all God, or who do you guys worship, or whatever the case like that?" And she pointed to the mountains, and wasn't that Midianites? And you know what I'm saying, she put the little, you know what I'm saying, the cross on his head from the ash of the mountains and shit like that. That's where you get Ash Wednesday from. And again, that's why I tell y'all Catholicism was here way before Christianity. But let's keep going.
First step was to take the place of the foremost god in the Canaanite.
Real quick, I say Catholicism because that's where Ash Wednesday comes from. Christianity and Judaism don't necessarily have a thing for Ash Wednesday.
Pantheon, El. El was known in Canaan as the creator of heavenly armies, much like the ones Jacob had seen in the sky. As we have already seen, one of the authorized names of Yahweh, Elohim, begins with the name of the god El. In the Bible, there are several mentions of conflict between Yahweh and other Canaanite gods, but not El, suggesting that at some point in time they fused together or Yahweh took his place. Thanks to Eric von Daniken's books, we are all familiar with the Anunnaki, an alien race of beings with incredible strength and superhuman size, who were considered gods in the ancient Sumerian pantheon. They landed in Mesopotamia thousands of years before the times of Abraham and Jacob. But remember that Jacob had his encounters with Yahweh when he was living in Mesopotamia. This implies that there might be a connection between the Anunnaki and Yahweh, just like there's a connection between them and the Egyptian gods like Thoth, the real builder of.
And I've been saying that shit all the time. If you think Abraham, Ibrahim, who came from there, y'all got to know he was fucking with the Anunnaki, or in the Sumerian text. He was. Come on, man. Like, see, this is what I be saying when people be listening or studying these things, bro. Y'all be so indoctrinated to that one fucking book, to that one, you know what I'm saying, idea, bro. Y'all got to really get down and study this shit. That's why I asked the very first question when I started doing this shit, man. If y'all do the origins of what the fuck, you know what I'm saying, you was doing, would you really still do this shit? Would you really still have this belief? Would you really still have this faith and this much conviction for it? You feel me? You know, and I know a lot of people don't like, you know what I'm saying, the fact that I might, you know what I'm saying, play these videos and I might give my opinion on them, or, or talk to them or whatever the case may be. But I just want people to wake up. I want people to broaden their, their spectrums, broaden their understanding. You know what I'm saying? To get a better and listen, and I'm not saying that you got to run away from it, but just get a better contextual overview and analysis of what you're doing. And if you still feel as though you need to do that, do it. I ain't mad at it.
The Great Pyramids. Yahweh even makes references to fallen angels in the Bible, which are the giants known as Nephilim. The Bible is a source of information not only about the nature of Yahweh, but about how the original Jews lived. As we have seen, not every story from the Bible is based on concrete facts, but they all have a grain of truth. Let's take, for example, a passage from the book of Ezekiel, one of the major prophetic books of the Christian Bible and the Hebrew Bible, known as the Tanakh. The book records the 6 visions the prophet Ezekiel had during his exile in Babylon in the 6th century BCE. Ezekiel 1:4, Ezekiel tells of his vision of a Merkava, or chariot. This became important in the Middle Ages, with the foundation of a whole school of Kabbalistic thought called Merkava mysticism. In reality, the vision of Ezekiel describes a close encounter with extraterrestrials. In his account, the heavenly chariot was driven by a likeness of a man, only bigger. The vehicle had 4 wheels and was pulled by 4 humanoid creatures, each one with 2 pairs of wings and faces that blended animal and human features. This was actually a spaceship, a vehicle ancient astronauts used to travel from and to the Earth. The Bible is full of references to impossible vehicles, including Noah's Ark, a ship so big that every species of animal on Earth fit inside it. The story of Noah also helps to show how the Bible is inspired by other texts from the time. The Mesopotamian Epic of Gilgamesh, composed long before the Bible, has a similar myth about a great flood. In this story, the highest god, Enlil, decides to destroy the world with a flood because humans have become too noisy. The earth god Ea, the creator of humankind out of clay, forewarns a hero by the name of Utnapishtim about the destruction that is about to happen and gives him instructions for building a giant boat to overcome the flood. As we know, this is exactly the same story of Noah and the Ark from the Bible, and the similarities do not end there. The Babylonian creation myth, called Enuma Elish, is very similar to the creation described in Genesis 1, including the creation of the world out of water, the separation of darkness and light, and the establishment of order by a single mighty divinity. The Bible is full of accounts of sightings of heavenly beings. Some canonical Jewish texts, such as Psalms 19:2, claim, "The heavens declare the glory of God," implying that the worship of Yahweh is not restricted to humans on earth, but also to heavenly beings living beyond the skies. The social structure of the early Jews is also described in the Bible. Originally, they were nomadic and organized themselves in tribes, led by a patriarch. The family or tribe was thus the most important social structure to them, and it continued to be so when they finally settled in Canaan, the Promised Land. As we have already seen, every Israelite who was alive at the time of the Golden Calf incident was unable to enter the Promised Land. This included Moses, who was left behind when the tribes crossed the River Jordan, now under the leadership of his son Joshua. After 40 years in the desert, they finally were able to establish themselves in Canaan, building cities and a temple in Jerusalem. In order to achieve this, they exterminated the Canaanites that inhabited the region, citing their God-given right to the Promised Land. There, they wrote and codified the Pentateuch or Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, and developed their religious practices. These included sacrifices and festivals like Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, and Passover. The Torah also explains the dietary restrictions of Jews, who are forbidden to eat meat from camels, pigs, hares, and shellfish. Originally, each of the 12 tribes was self-governed and coexisted.
Did y'all hear him say pig? Hey, when a motherfucker, listen, I'm sorry. When someone say they don't eat pork, please stop assuming that they Muslim. Please. The man just clearly stated that you can't eat pigs, man.
Without the need to build a state. But once in Canaan, and with so many powerful neighbors, the elders of all Israeli tribes decided that they needed a king. A Jew named Saul was appointed king, but did not last long, as he soon disobeyed Yahweh and was punished by him. Yahweh had him killed in battle against the Philistines. The next king of Israel and Judah was David. David also faced challenges, both from his neighbors and from the Israelites, who started a civil war that forced David to flee momentarily. He gathered support and returned to Israel. crushed the revolt and forged a powerful and unified Israelite monarchy. He was a successful military leader who defeated the Philistines and avenged Saul, also securing the borders of Israel. It is at this time in history that we can begin to talk about a true Israel empire, which exerted dominance over the neighboring Philistia, Moab, Edom, and Ammon, and even managed to subdue the Armenian city-states of Aram Zobah and Aram Damascus into becoming vassal states. David is succeeded by his son Solomon. Solomon is remembered as a great king, famous for his wealth and his sense of justice. It is Solomon also who built the first temple. It was located at a very important location on top of Mount Moriah in Jerusalem, exactly where Solomon's father, King David, had a meeting with an extraterrestrial angel. The Temple of Solomon was the first embodiment of the arcane knowledge passed on for generations that the Israelites had been given directly by Yahweh. This is why many scientists and researchers have carefully studied what each part of the temple meant. The Book of Kings describes in detail how the Temple of Solomon was built. The entrance to the temple was supported by two sturdy columns or pillars. The right one was called Jachin, meaning he establishes, and the left one was named Boaz, in his strength. These embodied the duality of all the cosmos, and in medieval tarot cards, one can see that the high priestess is surrounded by two columns, one with the letter B and one with the letter J. Apart from the duality expressed in the columns, the temple was divided into three, because three was considered the number of God, perfection, harmony, and wisdom. The first part was a great court with an altar for burnt offerings, where the people of Israel assembled to worship God. This part of the temple was public. Then there was the holy place, which consisted of an enclosed room with a golden candlestick, a golden altar for incense table. This room was not public, but was open to Israelites when the priests officiated ceremonies. Finally, there was the Holy of Holies, forbidden to everyone but the high priest once a year. Inside this mysterious room, there rested the Kaparet, or mercy seat, which was the gold lid placed over the Ark of the Covenant. It featured two gold cherubim at the ends, symbolizing the space in which Yahweh appeared and dwelled. This was connected with the rituals of Yom Kippur, which was the only day in the year when the Holy of the Holies could be accessed. Solomon also went on to rebuild numerous significant cities that had been destroyed, including Megiddo, Hazor, and Gezer. Unfortunately, when he died around 926 BCE, the tension between the tribes of Israel transformed into another civil war. Solomon's successor was his son Rehoboam, who could not prevent the unified monarchy from splitting into two kingdoms, the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah, with Jerusalem as its capital. Separated and under no strong leadership, the kingdom of Israel was conquered in 722 BCE by the Neo-Assyrian Empire. The kingdom of Judah managed to resist for a century, but in 586 BCE was finally defeated by the Neo-Babylonian Empire, and all the Israelites were enslaved. After winning the Battle of Carchemish against the Egyptians, Babylonians under King Nebuchadnezzar became the most important empire in the ancient world. Easily defeating the fragile kingdom of Judah, Nebuchadnezzar chose to impose tribute on the Jews, which they did for 3 years. After that, the Israelites revolted against Babylonia in what came to be known as the Jewish-Babylonian War, which lasted from 601 to 586 BCE. During this time, Jerusalem was sieged at least 2 times, and finally, the Babylonian army entered the city, enslaved the population, and destroyed Solomon's temple. Nebuchadnezzar II destroyed Jerusalem in his 18th year of reign, or 587 BCE. 5 years later, the king deported all the Jews to Babylonia's capital city. There, the Jews remained until 539 BCE, when the
Hey, Nebuchadnezzar fucked some shit up, y'all.
Babylonian Empire fell to the Achaemenid Empire. The Persian Achaemenids allowed Jews to return to Judah, and 2 years later, they began constructing the Second Temple. Most of the exiled Jews did not return to Jerusalem. Many settled in what is now northern Israel, Lebanon, and Syria. The period of captivity in Babylonia was important to Jewish history because many of the canonical texts of the Jewish religion were written at this time, including most of the prophets' books like Ezekiel's. Jeremiah also wrote about the exile, and so other important books like Daniel's, Susanna, Bel and the Dragon, the story of the 3 youths, and the books of Tobit and Judith were written during the exile. Finally, the definitive redaction of the Pentateuch was done in the Persian period after the exile. The Book of Lamentations is dedicated entirely to the Babylonian captivity. Also,
So where's a lot of these books and shit at now?
so importantly, it was during this period that the Hebrew alphabet was adopted and the Torah was redacted. As there was no central temple in which to gather, Private practices based on the Torah became common, and many of the sacred rites of modern Judaism started during the exile in Babylon. In fact, it can be claimed that this is precisely when the Jewish religion started. One of the main religious consequences of exile was that Jews no longer organized themselves according to tribes, but by smaller family groups that followed Jewish leaders, be it scribes, sages, or the prophets themselves. For this reason, when Babylonian fell and was conquered by the Persian Empire in 540 BCE, many Jews did not leave immediately back to Judah, but chose to follow their prophets. According to the Holy Scriptures, only those Jews adherent to the teachings of Ezra and Nehemiah followed them back to Judah and resumed their traditional practices. The rest chose to either stay in Babylonia or establish themselves elsewhere.
So I just want, okay, so I want y'all to know, he said a lot of that shit was redacted. Redacted, meaning removed, took away, took it out. Why? Now I get it. A lot of times they say, well, a lot of that shit, you know what I'm saying, really didn't fit. Well, so you could say you would get people to say, well, it didn't fit the narrative or whatever off the bail. You know what I'm saying? We want people to, you know what I'm saying, stick with this and believe in this. Or it could be like a lot of them fucking stories, a lot of the things that we wonder about, that we talk about now, are those things in those other books that we don't read? You feel me? Are those other books, could those other books give people who don't believe inspiration or motivation to, or peace within themselves to be like, okay, well, maybe it is shit. Like, you feel me? Like when you remove a lot, and it's crazy because you got so many people believing without the redacted part. Like, but what if them redacted books, you know what I'm saying, were the deciding factor on the ones that don't believe or the non-believers? You feel me? See, this kind of make me seem like this socialist life experiment that we going through. This shit was all planned, bro. This wasn't there's no fucking person in the sky playing this. Some man planned this for a reason, for a purpose.
In the Persian Empire. Those Jews who returned to Judah, or Zion as they began to call the Promised Land, immediately began reconstructing the temple. This is why, regardless of where Jews were established in the post-exilic times, this period is known to historians as the Second Temple period. It lasted approximately 600 years between 516 BCE and 70 AD, during which time the Second Temple stood in the city of Jerusalem before it was destroyed by the Romans. This was a highly conflictive period in which the Kingdom of Judah enjoyed certain freedom only to be later annexed to the Hellenistic Empire, the Ptolemaic Kingdom, the Seleucid Empire, and Rome. Soon after the conquest, Persian King Cyrus the Great issued a law known as the Edict of Cyrus, in which he encouraged exiles of different origins to return to their homelands. The edict also stipulated that the Jerusalem area would be made an autonomous province within the Achaemenid Empire, but governed by the Jews. Those Jews who returned to their homeland were even offered help rebuilding the temple, which they did not reject. The Persian era laid the foundations for the unified Judaic religion and the beginning of a scriptural canon. The final Torah, which had been redacted during the exile, was finished during the Persian period. It was the prophet Ezra who had a pivotal role in its promulgation. At first, then, Jerusalem was constructed, and while the temple was finished, it did not have the same significance and importance as it did in the times of Solomon. In 332 BCE, the Persian Empire was conquered by the Macedonian armies of Alexander the Great. Alexander did not stay long in any of his possessions, but continued conquering lands until he reached the Indus River. After turning back, he died in Babylon under mysterious circumstances at the age of 32. After his death, his generals divided the empire among themselves, and Judea became a frontier region between the Seleucid Empire and Ptolemaic Egypt. Judea was considered a vassal state to the Ptolemies, and the governance of the region was left to the hereditary office of the high priest of Israel. This period of relative peace between 301 and 219 BCE saw the rise of Hellenistic Judaism, a syncretism that had started among the Jewish diaspora at Alexandria and later spread to Judea and Antioch. During this period, the Hebrew Bible was translated from Hebrew and Aramaic to Koine Greek. This helped disseminate the traditions of Judaism among Jews from Alexandria and other parts of the Hellenistic kingdoms who had lost the ability to speak Hebrew or Aramaic. The importance of Jewish religious leaders also grew during this period. Jewish leaders were perceived by other empires as valuable allies, and for this reason, when the Seleucid king Antiochus III captured the Judea region for the Seleucid Empire, he made efforts to protect Jewish culture and Jewish institutions. However, this was not the case with the Roman Empire. who considered Jews just an ignorant people who worshipped only one God. After Pompey's conquest of Judea in 63 BCE, he let the local leader Hyrcanus II keep his role. However, in practice, he did not have any power, and the whole region was governed by a Roman official named Antipater. When Julius Caesar's civil war broke out back in Rome, he attempted to install one of his own men on the throne of Judea. However, Pompey, the conqueror...
Real quick, for those that don't know what we're doing, man, we're going over Judaism. We getting into the history of Judaism, and things like that. You feel me? So when things like that, well, we get into the history of Judaism. You know what I'm saying? How they started, where they come from, and shit like that. So, man, hit that like button if y'all in the chat, man. Stick out. We almost through. And again, man, if y'all got any questions, anything y'all would like to add to the video, if you hear some shit that sound, you know what I'm saying, kind of alarming to you, hey, let me know and we'll get to it.
Emperor of Judea poisoned his candidate and beheaded his son, keeping the throne of Judea for himself and his sons Phasael and Herod. Herod was appointed king of the Jews by the Senate of Rome in the year 37 BCE. His rule was known for its cruelty and tyranny. Herod's rule was despotic, and he sought to suppress any manifestation of discontent by the population, especially Jews. His secret police was infamous for monitoring and reporting the feelings of the inhabitants directly
Hey
to
man,
him.
I'm still with you, man. I ain't going
Viciously
nowhere.
punished, and his opponents were frequently killed. According to Flavius Josephus, a Jewish historian, Herod had a bodyguard of 2,000 soldiers. One of the most infamous facts of his reign was the so-called Massacre of the Innocents, which is told in the Gospel of Matthew. According to Matthew, Herod ordered the execution of all male children who were 2 years old and under in or near Bethlehem. This story has not been confirmed by other sources, especially by Flavius Josephus, prompting current scholars to doubt its truth. It was precisely in the Roman province of Judea that the most well-known Jew of all time was born. Jesus of Nazareth, later known as Jesus Christ, was a young carpenter and magician native to Galilee who achieved the status of a god thanks to his deeds and miracles. Magi or
So now here we go. Did they just call Jesus a magician, y'all? They said he was a young carpenter and a magician. I could have sworn I just heard young carpenter and a magician. So let me tell y'all something. A lot of people don't damn. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm gonna speak towards the magician part. You know, it's a secret order of magicians as well. But magic, so-called magic, or what is magic? See, and then, you know, when we talk about words, our spells and incantations and things of that nature and spirits and rituals and stuff like that, you know, all that shit is magic. All that shit is considered magic. How do we get the correlation or the cross mix between magic and religion, or so-called spiritual or metaphysical belief? Even with the philosopher's stone, you know what I'm saying, coming up with the correct chemicals to turn any base metal or any base material, period, into gold. But anyway. But even the Egyptians used magic. Even the Sumerians used magic. Or I don't want to say so we can say magic, but I believe that the inception of that time was that a particular person understood something that the masses didn't understand. They didn't quite understand it, but they knew how to observe it and to recreate it, or, you know, they knew when a certain thing was going to happen, and they knew when to react. You know, just like even with the splitting of the Red Sea. Back then, I forgot what it's called, but when the wind comes in, you know, the wind can blow so hard that it can actually separate, you know what I'm saying, the waters then, and people can hurry up and scurry through, and you got a certain amount of time before that wind, you know what I'm saying, stop pushing that water. And this is an actual truth. This shit happens. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It don't happen like it's some shit we, you know what I'm saying, every so often. No, this is a rare event, just like when we see comets and shit in the sky. Even though you now through technology shit, the comets is always in the sky. But this event with the wind blowing the water, I forgot what it's called, bro, to where you can walk on sea level and cross the sea or some shit like that, especially if it's a short distance. You know what I'm saying? I got to go back and see where they cross at the Red Sea and what bank or where did they come up on and stuff like that, to give a little bit more correlation and understanding for me before I can relate it back to y'all. But yeah, but like magic has always been in play, bro. Or like I say, one person to figure some shit out that somebody else didn't figure it out, and they knew how to push it on the people. You feel me? And again, if I listen, and for a motherfucker to see something they ain't never seen before, yeah. But Jesus was a magician, huh, y'all? That's crazy. Hold on, let me see if I can take that back just a tad bit. Let's go.
In or near Bethlehem. This story has not been confirmed by other sources, especially by Flavius Josephus, prompting current scholars to doubt its truth. It was
Josephus, man. A lot of people don't know about Josephus. So Josephus was around during that time as well, and he's supposed to be a person who has had a literary or he's a person that they use as a primary source when it comes to recognizing and talking about Jesus. Josephus.
precisely in the Roman province of Judea that the most well-known Jew of all time was born. Jesus of Nazareth, later known as Jesus Christ, was a young carpenter and magician native to Galilee who achieved the status of a god thanks to his deeds and miracles. Magi or magus was a Persian term that can be translated as wise men. Since Persian times, a number of these magi began traveling the world, teaching their wisdom to those who would listen, and practicing miracles that would get the people's attention. Some magi had a more numerous following than others, and in this sense, Jesus did not achieve a particularly large following. We already know what the Catholic Church says about Jesus, that he was the Son of God, sent by God himself to save humanity. Romans feared a revolt against the empire, so they crucified him, but 3 days later after dying, he was reborn and ascended to the heavens to reunite with his Father. After the discovery and later translation of the Nag Hammadi Gnostic texts, we know that this simplistic fairy tale is only partially true. In fact, in a letter written by Clement of Alexandria, the father of the church explains that the wisdom of Jesus was much more than he taught his disciples. Clement believed that there were 3 levels to Jesus' teaching. One for public consumption, which is the teaching found in the Gospel of Mark, for example, a more spiritual set for initiates only, and a third grade of wisdom so exalted that it was beyond the capabilities of human expression and could never be written down at all. This last level was strictly reserved for the highest graduates and passed on orally. For this reason, we may never know what Jesus had to teach. This 3-level structure is reminiscent of the 3 different spaces in Solomon's temple. In fact, there are some people who believe that wood from the columns in Solomon's temple was used in the fabrication of the cross. This claim is impossible to
The holies of holies in the sanctum of sanctorum.
prove. But what we do know is that Jesus Christ had to be in contact with the same higher beings Solomon met more than 1,000 years before. The Gnostic Gospels found in Nag Hammadi actually point to Jesus having descended from above to reveal the truth to humanity. Gnosis is a hidden knowledge that can only be transmitted through spoken word, and even then, any disciple who wants to receive this truth needs to prepare him or herself for a long time before being able to understand the teaching. Gnostics believed no one could even understand God. He is distant, unknowable. The creator God that we worship on earth is nothing but a lesser, flawed deity. Jesus, then, is not the representative of the true God, not his own flesh. He did not come as a savior, but as a revealer, who tried to show the world how to escape the material prison and reconnect with the inner principle, the divine spark that Gnostics believe is inside every person. In this sense, according to Gnostic teachings, Jesus taught the knowledge of oneself, because only through knowing oneself can one gain knowledge of God. Discovering that inner divine spark is what leads to unity with God. This explains why the Gnostic Gospels show Mary Magdalene in other light than the common biblical tradition. In the Bible, Mary Magdalene is just a background figure, but according to the Gnostic Gospels, she was a close disciple of Jesus. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene even presents her as the recipient of special teachings from Jesus, suggesting a deeper understanding. Gnostics did not make any distinction between men and women.
We know what those special teachings was.
They both had the inner spark and were equally prepared or unprepared to receive the true wisdom. In the Gospel of Philip, Jesus is even said to have loved Mary Magdalene more than other women, which is confirmed by a fragment found 10 years ago that speaks of Mary Magdalene as Jesus' wife. But Jesus was not the only Jew to be persecuted in Rome. The Romans were accustomed to assimilating conquered peoples into their cultural sphere, so they clashed with the Jewish people who would not betray their strict monotheism. In turn, Roman polytheistic practices and emperor worship were seen as idolatry by Jews. and thus a mortal sin according to the commandments. Following Herod's tyrannical rule, other Romans also treated Jews cruelly, fueling a nationalist sentiment and an increasing resistance against the Roman rule. A political movement known as the Zealots sought to incite the people of the province of Judea to rebel against the Roman Empire and expel it from the Holy Land by force. The Zealots led several uprisings throughout the 1st century AD, and by 66 AD, they became an open major rebellion known to historians as the First Jewish-Roman War. The Roman response was brutal. Jerusalem was sacked, the Second Temple completely destroyed, and thousands of Jews were killed or sold as slaves in the Roman capital. This did not discourage Jews, who decades later initiated a large-scale armed rebellion known for the name of its leader, Simon Bar Kokhba. Following the revolts, the Jewish population in Judea dwindled, with many fleeing or being sold into slavery. This further dispersed the Jewish diaspora throughout the empire. Restrictions on religious practices and discriminatory laws became more common. One of the consequences of these revolts was the emergence of Rabbinic Judaism, which became the unifying force for all the Jewish communities dispersed throughout the Roman Empire. Rabbis were responsible for preserving Jewish law and traditions, even when
Yeah, and that's where the Talmud and shit come in again. When I spoke on the Talmud earlier, excuse me. So now, and it's just the same shit. Like it's basically just what the fuck they did with the Council of Nicaea when they decided to come up with Christianity. You feel me? Just a bunch of they so-called, I don't want to say so-called, but just a bunch of they old motherfucker, old wise men. They gonna come together and these the stories, and this is what we gonna put, and this is what we want the people to. It's the same shit, man. Just regurgitated different times. Same shit.
they needed to do so secretly. This gave Jews a sense of identity in the face of Roman dominion. A legacy of complexity. The relationship between Jews and Romans in the empire defied easy categorization. Periods of tolerance coexisted with brutal repression. The legacy is complex, marked by both cooperation and conflict. The Gnostic Gospels, for instance, reflect some of these tensions, with some portraying a more harmonious coexistence, while others hint at Jewish resistance to Roman rule. Paradoxically, the reign of Nero was not negative for Jews. Like his uncle Caligula, Emperor Nero had a reputation for madness and cruelty. Yet an interesting and overlooked aspect of his reign was the relationship between Nero and the Jews. In 62 AD, Nero married a young aristocratic woman named Poppaea Sabina. The ancient sources claim that it was Poppaea who killed Nero's ex-wife, Octavia, and his tutor, the philosopher Seneca. Apparently, she did not dislike Jews, and intervened on 2 separate occasions to prevent her husband from taking action against the Jews. This meant that as long as Nero was emperor, Jews were relatively free and protected. The same Nero was responsible for the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD. The Middle Ages are frequently depicted as the Dark Ages, where nothing culturally significant happened and the relationship between people and states was governed by violence. But this is far from the truth, as most modern philosophic currents started during the Middle Ages. Universities started appearing in Europe in the 12th and 13th centuries, and translations of ancient texts were attempted not only in Europe, but in the Muslim world too. The Middle Ages was the time when Kabbalistic knowledge was developed. This was a branch of Judaism characterized by its esoteric teachings and was later...
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I wondered if they figured out that inbreeding and shit like that, because down there every fucking Roman emperor was fucked up. I had some type of mental trauma or something going on. I wonder if they figured out that them sleeping with each other and them fucking with each other was fucking them up. Same shit with the Egyptians and shit like that, because y'all know that was the thing. You feel me? You know, we call it incest, but you know they call it keeping their bloodline pure. I wonder if that's why a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, like you know what I'm saying, especially during the medieval times and pre-medieval times and shit, you get where motherfuckers be handing over their daughters as suitors and shit, or handing over their daughters hand in marriage for this, that, third, and for partnership between 2 kingdoms and mating and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Because shit, having relationships with each other, man, all the motherfuckers they was going crazy. They was fucking mad. It was insane. I wonder if somebody figured that shit out. No, we gotta stop fucking with other people, man, so we can keep this day rolling. Let's keep going.
Adapted into Western esotericism and the Christian Kabbalah and the Hermetic Kabbalah. Jewish Kabbalah was the product of profound thought and discussion among rabbis. Like the Gnostic Jesus, they were preoccupied with trying to explain the relationship between eternal God they called Ein Sof, meaning the infinite, and a finite universe created by God. Mortal men are part of that finite universe. So can they even grasp the concept of unending godhood? One of the most important pieces
Say iron soft. Some people say unsoft.
Of scholarship created during this period is the Zohar, first published by Moses de Leon in the 13th century. Moses de Leon claimed it was a work recording the teachings of Simeon ben Yochai, a Jewish sage who lived in the 1st century AD. But modern scholars think it was de Leon who wrote the book himself. The Zohar contains discussions of the nature of God, the origin and structure of the universe, the nature of souls, redemption, and the metaphors relating man to darkness and the true self to the light of God. It should be noted that this light of God is very similar to the inner spark that was mentioned in the Gnostic Gospels that discuss the teachings of Christ. And like the Gnostic Gospels, a careful reading of the Zohar offers insight into the relationships between Jewish sages and the higher extraterrestrial powers. A 20th century Kabbalist rabbi and physicist named Aryeh Kaplan published a critical version of the Torah and a number of commentaries on Kabbalistic texts, including the Zohar. After studying this text for several years, he concluded that they contained evidence of the existence of extraterrestrial life. Kabbalistic texts clearly state that there are 7 Earths. Until Kaplan's studies, it was thought that this number corresponded to the 7 continents. But as Kaplan recalls, the Zohar...
So that's Kaplan right there. I don't know if y'all watch Ancient Aliens or if y'all ever seen the Ancient Aliens. He been on a few episodes to try to coincide or try to make correlations with this alien belief and shit like that. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm a quacker the same way because I do believe in that shit. But I don't put it with this. But, you know, it's a book, man, called Behold the Pale Horse. I don't know if y'all can get it. I don't know how true of a version that it is. I got to reorder that book or how true of a version it is. But, you know, he speaks, William Cooper, he speaks about how in that book, how they come down here and they talk to the president, but they was talking to Eisenhower during that time. I think it was Eisenhower or Roosevelt, one of them, talking to him during that time. And, you know, they was telling them that, yeah, we gave y'all religion. We got y'all believing in this shit. You feel? I don't listen again. I don't know how true it is. I know he was a naval intelligence officer, and he had some shit that he was supposed to destroy. Somehow he got into it, and he started seeing things, and he came up with this book, and it's called Behold the Pale Horse. Hey, listen, go get it. It's a good read. Listen, when I say a good read, from cover to cover, it's a great, damn great read. So yeah, but this guy here, man, he be on Ancient Aliens, and like I say, this is where they try to bridge the gap. You feel me? And you know, even I, you know what I'm saying, they came on and said, well, look, maybe them motherfucking angels and shit that y'all think is angels and shit like that, maybe them aliens, you feel me? It did say the daughters, what did it say, the sons of God came down here and slept with the daughters of men, you feel me? And it's all type of perversion and all type of things happen, and of course you might birth a giant, or you might birth this, or you might birth that, you feel me, or whatever the case may be. Maybe they were aliens. And if that's so, and if that's true, you feel me, and then if they fail out of grace, you feel me, so like maybe those Anunnakis, when they fail, that's where they fail, and feel me, you feel me, which was these fallen angels. And then these angels, like I say, because each angel is a different angel, you know what I'm saying? Now, however, and guess what? So that angel, or that Anu, or, you know what I'm saying, when he was creating the people, you feel me, once they started separating, you feel me, they created people who were versions of them, or what they wanted to be like, or I guess look like, because, you know, it does says that let us make man in our image. So it was more than one motherfucker that fell, and it was like an agreement. You feel me? That's like an agreement. Let us make man in our image. You feel me? That's like an agreement. That's not more saying it's two people, you know what I'm saying, creating some shit. That's more like, man, let us, you feel me, we gonna do this shit, let us make the people that we finna create, let us make man in our image. So whatever they look like, or whatever the fuck we're up to bam, that's what they did, and that's how you come up with different people. Listen, if you believe in that shit, you feel me, I don't want to get too far off, but let's get back to the material.
Ari explains that each of these 7 Earths are separated by a firmament. It also states that each of them is inhabited by intelligent creatures, not men, but other beings who understand the existence of God. Some of this secret wisdom is contained in the so-called Tree of Life. The Kabbalistic Tree of Life is an arcane diagram containing 10 spheres called Sephiroths. Each of the Sephiroth has a specific name and certain characteristics, and they are connected by 22 different paths. In the traditional Kabbalistic diagrams, the Tree of Life is supported by a black column and a white column, symbolizing Jachin and Boaz from the Temple of Solomon. One interpretation speaks of the path between...
That's Jachin and Boaz, you feel me? Those are the two pillars or the two columns of King Solomon Temple. So you had to pass through those columns as you coming into King Solomon's Temple, which was a temple that was built without any metal, any iron, or anything stone, and you had to be divested of everything. You had to be desolate. You know what I'm saying, to be a man of good repute and moral standing to be able to participate in the building of King Solomon's Temple. You feel me? So I guess everything was built by, I don't know, man, maybe a lot of this shit is metaphorical. But anyway, but Boaz and Jakim, you know what I'm saying, those are the two pillars that you walk through as you enter into the sanctum of sanctorium, you know what I'm saying, on your way to the holies of holies. You feel me? Is where the altar is, you know what I'm saying, or the burn. Anyway, y'all, we ain't gonna get into all that. So, and again, you know, for a lot of people that say, you know what I'm saying, masonry is devil worship and masonry is this and that. So for a lot of people that don't understand or that don't know, you know what I'm saying, a lot of the things that's being spoken right here within the Judaism religion, masonry deals with. Let me tell you something. Masonry deals with our religion, even though masonry is not a religion itself or not a political, supposed to be a religious group or a political group within itself. But the foundations, the premise, the ideologies, you know what I'm saying, all that shit, you know what I'm saying, it's one and the same, man. One and the same. One and the same. So, you know, so, and again, like, you know, so religion does have the devil and the ball and the Baphomet and the paganism and all that shit in it. So masonry or any so-called secret, you know what I'm saying, and as I would like to call, or as I like to say, sacred organizations from the Knights of Columbus to anything, man. You feel me? It involves all that shit. So when you see these videos and y'all really don't understand and they look like they painting a picture type shit, I get it, man. That's just a narrative, bro. Anybody can paint a picture the way they want it to look. But if you go back and do your due diligence and you see what you feel me? You know what I'm saying? All this shit intertwines, all this shit is connected. So if one is double, the other is like this shit, bro. Y'all, we so fucked up. Hey, man, listen. Hey, when motherfuckers start coming up with this shit and implementing this shit, or even if a motherfucker sit down here for you to push it, the original motherfuckers who was pushing this shit and they stayed convicted to pushing this shit, man, they had to be dope, bro. Like, for real. Because this ain't some easy shit to manifest and push upon the people, man.
Earth and the skies that the ancient astronauts traveled. Many Jews, and especially Kabbalah practitioners, have established themselves in Spain. But the Catholic monarchs, Isabella and Ferdinand, were intent on achieving a culturally homogeneous kingdom. In March 1492, they published the Alhambra Decree, which forced Jews to either convert to Christianity or march into exile. It was not the first measure against Jews. During the 14th century, a series of pogroms occurred, the most savage of them in 1391. After that, the majority of Spain's 300,000 Jews converted to Catholicism. After 1492, out of more than 100,000 Jews that remained in Spain, an estimated 50,000 to 70,000 Jews left Spain, while the remainder converted. However, this does not mean that they automatically adopted Christianism. Most of them continued to exercise Judaism in secrecy, despite the threats of the Spanish Inquisition. The exiled Spanish Jews fled mainly to the Ottoman Empire, North Africa, and Portugal. A small number also settled in Holland and England. Officially, converted Jews were known in Spain as Cristianos Nuevos, or New Christians. They enjoyed fewer rights than the old Christians, giving them few reasons to actually embrace Christianity. Thus, they continued to secretly and discreetly practice Jewish rituals at their homes. This was known as crypto-Judaism and was similar to the secret Jewish ceremonies of ancient Rome. One of the most clever forms of crypto-Judaism was the invention of a fictional Catholic saint named Esterica. Saint Esterica was no other than Jewish Queen Esther, and her festivities coincided with the Feast of Purim. Crypto-Jews persisted in later periods in Russia and Eastern European countries influenced by the Soviet Union after the rise of communism, with the Russian Revolution of 1917. The communist government, which included secular communist Jews, did not force Jews to convert to the Russian Orthodox Church, but considered the practice of any religion as undesirable. Some faiths were allowed to continue under strict supervision by the regime. Other crypto-Jews from Portugal, known as the Belmont Jews, maintained strong secret traditions since the 12th century. Their crypto-Judaism was so secretive that it was able to survive for centuries by maintaining a tradition of endogamous marriage and hiding all external signs of their faith. They and their practices were only discovered in the 20th century. One of the most important figures of Judaism in this period was Maimonides, a powerful rabbi and commentator of the Talmud. He was an influential leader of the Jewish community in the Iberian Peninsula. Maimonides suggested the Jews of Spain not to seek martyrdom, but to abandon Judaism publicly while maintaining it secretly. But he also prompted them not to convert to Christianity and instead adopt Islam as their public religion. He argued that crypto-Judaism was heroic and did not mean they were betraying their own religion and God. For this and other actions, he became known as a rationalist, but his views on crypto-Judaism legitimized it among the accepted practices of Jews. This probably saved thousands of Jewish lives, as the Spanish Inquisition was an extended institution during these centuries.
If you're just coming in, man, we're watching a video on Judaism, and we're giving our commentary, man. We found out Jesus was a magician. You know what I'm saying? All type of shit, man. That's why I like doing this.
Jewish populations have existed in Europe, especially in the area of the former Roman Empire, from very early in history. During the Middle Ages and the early modern era, however, they suffered persecution in different countries, especially in Eastern Europe, but also in France. Early medieval society was tolerant, but that slowly changed with the centuries. As the church and the feudal system became fully organized, there was a division of society into three different estates: clergy, knights, and serfs. But as non-Christians, Jews did not take part in that organization, leaving them with other occupations, primarily commerce and artisanship. They were also protected by kings, princes, and bishops because they provided crucial services such as finance, administration, and medicine. However, states also applied excessive taxes to all professions mainly run by Jews. Kings frequently kept Talmudic rabbis in their courts for consultations. Competition with Christian priests, especially members of the Franciscan and Dominican orders, rose in the 14th and 15th centuries. It was during this time that Christians started depicting Jews as having killed Christ. It was also during this period that persecution of Jews and deportations became generalized. After 1300, Jews suffered more discrimination and persecution in Christian Europe. Europe's Jews were mainly urban and literate, while Christians regarded them as deniers of the truth, as they only read Jewish scriptures. The church also forbade Christians from loaning money for interest, which Jews did all the time. This became another reason for despising the Jews in Christianity. As a result, the money trade of Western Europe became a specialty of the Jews. But in almost every instance when Jews acquired large amounts through banking transactions during their lives or upon their deaths, the king would take it over. Massacres of Jews became common in many European countries. This situation escalated especially during the Crusades, when the religious frenzy of the Christians was at its all-time high. During the so-called People's Crusade.
See, now my thing is, so why they take their money after they die? Why couldn't they take their money while they was alive? That's something to think about.
Crusade of 1096, flourishing Jewish communities on the Rhine and the Danube were completely destroyed.
And I only say that to say, did they really have power?
In the Second Crusade of 1147, the Jews in France were subject to frequent massacres. This was also repeated during the Shepherds' Crusades of 1251 and 1320. Jews were expelled from England in 1290, and a century later, in 1396, 100,000 Jews were expelled from France. Most of the displaced Jews established themselves in Poland, where they were welcomed and prospered freely. In some city-states in the north of Italy, like Venice, Jews were permitted to live within the city walls, but they were not allowed to leave their ghetto. This practice spread across the Kingdom of Italy, where Jews were appreciated as moneylenders and tradespeople, but despised in terms of religion and culture. In some cities, Jews who left their ghettos had to wear a yellow Star of David to identify them. Unwanted in most of Europe, Jews began migrating to North America following the Protestant cults. Protestants were also persecuted, sometimes even more fiercely than Jews. In France, for example, in 1572, Saint Bartholomew's massacre took place, in which 30,000 French Protestants known as Huguenots were targeted and killed in a single day. America was an attractive destination for both groups because of its social and entrepreneurial opportunities, and later became a refuge from the peril of ongoing anti-Semitism in Europe. Most Jews never returned to Europe. The American Jewish community grew to about 15,000 by 1840 and about 250,000 by 1880. Most of the 19th century migrant Jews came from German-speaking countries, Austria and Germany, and commonly engaged in trade, manufacturing, and operated clothing stores in many cities. This number highly grew between 1880 and...
Isn't that fucking interesting? And the Jews were persecuted over there in Germany. with the Holocaust and things of that nature. See, a lot of this history and a lot of this shit, just thinking about this shit, you know what I'm saying, from a historical standpoint and from, you know what I'm saying, a linguistic standpoint, if we go back and do a little digging and do a little research, like, sometimes this shit'll make you say, but we don't go this far. This is why I like doing it.
Start of World War I in 1914, as 2 million Yiddish-speaking Ashkenazi Jews immigrated from diaspora communities in Eastern Europe, where life was untenable due to frequent pogroms.
So now they didn't came. So now you see how we didn't came about Israel with the so-called Canaan Jew or Hebrew Israelite. Now we into the Ashkenazi and the Khazar. And as you can see, they don't do shit but get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. You know what I'm saying? Through the stuff. This shit is crazy, man. And again, Afro-Asiatic. Remember I read that.
They came from Jewish diaspora communities in Russia, Poland, Lithuania, and the Russian-controlled portions of Poland. The latter group clustered in New York City, where they are a powerful community even today. Zion is a name that appears in the Bible and refers either to the hill in Jerusalem where the first and second temples stood or to Jerusalem itself. As we have seen, some of the prophets have led a return to Zion after the Babylonian captivity. This idea was refloated during the 1870s and 1880s, mainly thanks to the centuries-long pressure for Jews to leave Europe. However, there had not been a Jewish state in the Middle East for millennia, and the area was occupied by other peoples. At first, they began discussing mass immigration to Ottoman Syria with the aim of re-establishing a Jewish state in Palestine and fulfilling the biblical prophecies contained in the Talmud. After the decree of Cyrus, the return to Zion became an important political claim for all Jews. They called the migration to Jerusalem Aliyah. Influential Jewish figures started discussing the possibility of enacting Aliyah. The Zionist movement was officially founded in 1884 at the Katowice Convention, and later the World Zionist Congress of 1897 was dominated by the figure of Theodor Herzl, the main activist who sought to establish a state for the Jews. Herzl and other Jews made use of their contacts in different places of power in Europe, mainly in England. After the First World War, it seemed that the conditions that made it possible for the Jews to establish such a state had arrived. The United Kingdom had captured Palestine from the Ottoman Empire, and the Jews started to press the government.
Then you hear say mainly in England, because I don't know if y'all know that the Queen, you know what I'm saying, states that she was a direct descendant of Jacob, and underneath her throne was the Rock of Gibraltar. She said that's the throne she sat upon
to give them control of Palestine. In this context, Arthur James Balfour, the British Foreign Secretary, issued the declaration in the form of a letter to Lionel Walter Rothschild, a prominent leader of the British Jewish community and a Zionist. In this letter, dated 1917, Balfour expressed British government support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. In 1920, the British Mandate of Palestine was established, and the pro-Jewish Herbert Samuel.
So, and I keep trying to tell y'all, man, ain't no fucking such thing as America, man. This little England, bro. You feel me? That's why over there they got New England. You know what I'm saying? And this is England, bro. And all the people that came from over here was from English, bro, with the American Revolution and all that bullshit. And then you see who got a hold of this bitch. They always talk about the families like the Rothschilds and all that. You just heard where Rothschild from, right? He was a British, you feel me? Man, come on, man.
Was appointed High Commissioner of Palestine. In the following years, several large Jewish immigration waves to Palestine occurred. The Arab co-inhabitants of Palestine were hostile to increasing Jewish immigration, however, and as a result, they began to express their opposition to the establishment of Jewish settlements, and they also began to express their opposition to the pro-Jewish policy of the British government in violent ways. After the 1920 Arab riots and the 1921 Jaffa riots, the Jewish leadership in Palestine believed that the British had no desire to confront local Arab gangs and punish them for their attacks on Palestinian Jews. English officials simply decided they did not have any responsibilities in this conflict between the two foreign groups. 600,000 Muslims lived in Palestine in 1922, as well as 94,000 Jews. Major riots occurred during 1929 and later in the 1936 to 1939 Arab revolt in Palestine. The United Kingdom, seeing this increase in violence, now began to lean towards a binational solution, supporting the establishment of both an Arab state and a Jewish state. However, in 1939, the Jews had other, more pressing preoccupations. In 1939, Nazi Germany invaded Poland, prompting a declaration of war from France and Great Britain. Hitler's dreams included a racially homogeneous Germany. This meant expelling all the Jews in Germany, but he did not want them to take their possessions. Instead, an increasingly discriminatory legislation was passed, allowing the German state to dispossess the Jews. This garnered billions of German marks, allowing the rearmament of the country. The Nazis developed their ideology based on racism and the pursuit of what they called living space. Since Hitler was inaugurated in 1933, the regime passed anti-Jewish laws, encouraged harassment, and even orchestrated a nationwide pogrom in November 1938, known as the Night of Broken Glass. After Germany invaded Poland in September 1939, occupation authorities began to establish ghettos to segregate Jews. During the Second World War, Germany started to build concentration camps where the Jewish population was sent to do forced labor. But in 1941, due to the increasing costs of maintaining a large camp population and the pressures of the war economy, it was decided that Jews and other prisoners would be eliminated. Between 1941 and the end of the war in 1945, Germany systematically murdered around 6 million Jews, roughly 2/3 of Europe's Jewish population. These mass murders were first carried out through mass shootings, but later poison gas chambers were implemented. Following the invasion of the Soviet Union in June 1941, 2 million Jews were shot by German forces and local collaborators. The property, homes, and jobs belonging to murdered Jews were redistributed to the German occupiers and other non-Jews. Although the majority of Holocaust victims died in 1942, the killing continued at a lower rate until the end of the war in May 1945. Separate Nazi persecutions killed a similar or larger number of non-Jewish civilians and prisoners of war. Many Jewish survivors immigrated outside of Europe after the war. Many of them sought refuge in South and North America. Many German officers also fled to South America and Antarctica. After the war, the Zionist movement resumed its plans for a Jewish state in Palestine. In 1945, the Jewish resistance organizations in Palestine established the Jewish Resistance Movement. It was a paramilitary organization that attacked Muslim targets in Palestine, guerrilla style. The Jewish leadership, meanwhile, decided that they needed a larger number of Jews in Palestine if they wanted to have any chance of winning. They began organizing the migration to Palestine of a massive number of Jewish war refugees from Europe, without the approval of the British authorities. They knew that once they established in Palestine, it would be difficult to get them out of there. The British authorities left the discussions regarding the Palestine matter to the newly created United Nations. On November 29, 1947, the United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 181, in which they recommended partitioning Palestine into an Arab state, a Jewish state, and a city of Jerusalem under shared control of Muslims and Jews. The Jewish leadership accepted the decision, but the Arab League and the leadership of Palestinian Arabs opposed it. In 1948, a full-blown war between Arabs and Israelis commenced. In the middle of the war, after the last British soldiers of the Palestine Mandate left the area, Jewish leader David Ben-Gurion proclaimed on May 14, 1948, the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine, which was named the State of Israel. In 1949, when the war ended, the State of Israel started to receive massive waves of Jewish immigrants from all over the world. It should be noted that Israel did not respect the division proposed by the United Nations, and were it not for the Egyptian defense of the Gaza Strip and Transjordan defending the West Bank, Israel would have occupied the entirety of Palestine. Since its inception in 1948, the State of Israel engaged in an aggressive foreign policy, the encouragement of Jews from all over the world to migrate to Israel, and the use of espionage and military power to achieve their goals in the region. Israel is today one of the 9 countries with the most nuclear warheads, even though they are a relatively small country with a population of less than 10 million people. Since 1948, Israel has been involved in several major military conflicts, so many that the entire history of the State of Israel can be told through its wars. When the United Nations voted to partition the British Mandate of Palestine into 2 states, British troops were given orders to leave the country immediately. At the same time, violence between Arabs and Jews escalated. Among the most infamous events was the attack on the Arab village of Deir.
Now, what I don't want to do, is push a narrative against either, right? So particularly that's not what the video is for, is to push a narrative for either. But due to the politics and due to who and how and what happened prior to, Hitler, and prior to all these people that they talking about with the land and the migration and the movement of people and like I say, the conquering. It just was a lot, and we all about the things that go on over there. And everybody asks the question, will it ever stop? Will it ever change? And this, that, and the third. And people have their own different type of narratives about, with these converts, the people left the land, they coming back to the land. This is why they fight for. So, and also y'all know, like, even with the dome, you feel me? Like, Muslims and Israelites, you feel me? They all worship in the same temple, the same place, which is kind of crazy. But again, they trying to keep the peace, and I just think, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? I just think it'll always be a civil arrest over there with that type of contention, especially with the Zionists and the politics, and the Israelis and the Palestinians and the Arab community. It's just always going to be some form of contention. Do we want that? No. But historically, this is what, and I don't think a lot of people, tend to recognize that or see that this has been going on forever. This ain't some shit that just popped up here in, the late 1990s or the 2000s, early 2000s, this shit has been going on forever.
Yassin on April 9th, 1948. This was a small village of 600 unarmed people, but Zionist fighters broke into the village and killed more than 100 people, including women and children. This action sparked retaliation by the Arabs, who days later attacked a Jewish convoy headed for Hadassah Hospital, killing 78 men. Skirmishes and fights broke out every day until in July 1949 an armistice was signed between Israel and the Arab states.
And let me say that just because you a so-called Jew doesn't mean that you're a Zionist, and just because you're a Zionist doesn't necessarily make you a Jew. You have to look the two up and find out, what they are individually before you try to say one or the other, they're one and the same. I mean, some people could probably and will probably come to the same kind of, conclusion if they think that they're one and the same. But they're not. They're different entities or forms of political adjustments. You feel me? So they're different, but so I just want to make that clear that Jews are not Jewish people, are not all Jewish people are Zionists, and not all Zionists are Jews. And
a temporary frontier was fixed. Israelis remember this war as the War of Independence. In the Arab world, it is known as the Nakba, meaning catastrophe. Many families who were displaced during Nakba were never able to return to their homelands even 80 years later. In 1956, the Egyptian president nationalized the Suez Canal, a waterway connecting Europe and Asia that was until that moment owned by French and British capitals. Both France and Britain sent money and weapons to Israel, who agreed to invade Egypt. Once the area was secured, they would step in to recover control over the Suez Canal. The invasion of the Sinai Peninsula began in October 1956, and in just 5 days, the Israeli army managed to capture Gaza, Rafah, and Al-Arish, taking thousands of prisoners. This attack took the Egyptians by surprise, who had no option other than to accept defeat. It was only in 1979, during the so-called Camp David Accords, that Egypt recovered the Sinai Peninsula, a largely uninhabited desertic plot of land. In June 1967, Israeli forces planned a brief campaign to gain control of the whole of Palestine. This was known as the Six-Day War, and Israel managed to conquer the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, and Golan Heights, and maintain control over the Sinai Peninsula, which had been recaptured by Nasser after the Israeli Air Force shot down 6 Syrian jet fighters. However, shortly after the war, the United Nations passed a resolution that called for Israel to withdraw from the conquered lands. After the Six-Day War, sporadic fights emerged in different parts of the country. This turned into a full-blown war in 1973. On October 6th, the Jewish holy day of Yom Kippur, Israel was caught off guard by Egyptian forces crossing the Suez Canal and by Syrian forces crossing into the Golan Heights. The Arab armies showed greater aggressiveness and fighting ability than in the previous wars, and the Israeli forces suffered heavy casualties. The fighting, which lasted through the Islamic holy month of Ramadan, came to an end on October 26th. Israel signed a formal ceasefire agreement with Egypt on November 11th and with Syria on May 31st, 1974. According to the Camp David Accords of 1979.
And another thing was crazy because they keep saying Egypt, right? But they keep saying Arab forces. So, now they trying to say that, Egyptians are Arab and European, an admixture of Arab and European. They trying to separate Egyptians from being, sole inhabitants to the continent of Al-Kabalan or Africa as you know it, because, it's in the northern part of Africa. This should be crazy, just like Carthage, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of those. So they try to say a lot of those people, like the Lebanese people, and all those people in the Levant, those were a lighter people, and they were a lighter people because of the attacks and shit like that. Like I was saying, because they only attacked the coastal line borders of it. You feel? But don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that those people didn't start off, browner than me. You feel what I'm saying? Or darker than me, or whatever the case, whatever phrase you want to use. So, and a lot of times I've been hearing that a lot lately, that, Egyptians are Arabs and European people, and even the people, like I said, of Northern Africa, were not, a darker skin tone. It should be crazy. And that's so basically they was trying to sandwich us in, huh?
Israel would return the Sinai Peninsula to Egypt in 1982. But only 6 weeks after Israel's complete withdrawal from Sinai, increased tensions between Israelis and Palestinians resulted in the Israeli bombing of Beirut and southern Lebanon, where the Palestine Liberation Organization had its headquarters. The following day, Israel invaded Lebanon, and by June 14th, its land forces reached the outskirts of Beirut, which was surrounded, but the Israeli government agreed to retreat after signing a ceasefire with the Palestinians. Eventually, Israeli troops withdrew from West Beirut, and the Israeli army had withdrawn entirely from Lebanon by June 1985. 20 years later, in 2006, the Palestinian nationalist organization known as Hezbollah launched an operation against Israel to pressure the country into releasing Lebanese prisoners, killing a number of Israeli soldiers in the process and capturing 2. Israel launched an offensive into southern Lebanon to recover the captured soldiers. The war lasted only a month, but left more than 1,000 Lebanese dead and about 1 million others displaced. Hezbollah's ability to fight the Israel Defense Forces to a standstill won its praise throughout much of the Arab world. The last conflict in which the Jews are involved, and which is still ongoing today, is the ethnic cleansing of Gaza and Rafah. On October 7, 2023, a Palestinian nationalist group known as Hamas launched a surprise attack from the Gaza Strip into the land controlled by Israel, killing around 1,000 people and taking several prisoners. Israel retaliated with full force, starting a humanitarian crisis that is getting worse every day. So far, more than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed in the Israeli attacks, including over 12,300 children and 8,400 women. Accusations of war crimes against Israel were made after Israelis cut access to water, power, and internet in the Gaza Strip, and because of the extremely large numbers of civilian casualties. Israel is even reported to deny entrance to Gaza to humanitarian aid vehicles. With such a rich history spanning several millennia, it would be almost impossible to include every important detail and fact in just one video. Please write in the comments if you consider any topic in the history of the Jews should receive a more in-depth treatment in a separate video. For now, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and watch our related videos on the screen next. Keep your minds open, and until we meet again.
Yo. Yeah, man. Pretty interesting stuff, man. We found out Jesus was a magician. and also, even though I wanted to focus more on the school of thought system of Judaism, I do like how this video went into, saying the political side of it, and mentioned a few things. Now listen, so what I will say, some of these things can be looked at as factual, and some of these things could be looked at as opinions. You feel me? It's all about, your understanding, your knowledge, your resources, and what you're doing. And like I said, you draw your own conclusions, man. That's why we do this. We don't do this to try to change anybody's mind, faith, religious belief, or whatever the case may be. If you're convicted, stay committed. You feel me? All I ask is that you open up and become more enlightened. You know what I'm saying, about what's going on around you. And just make sure that you want to do what you do. You feel me? Because within everything is bad. You know what I'm saying? It's not always good. I don't give a fuck how pure, how you feel me? Within everything is some bad and good, man. It's a balance. You feel me? How would the world be if it was just all bad, right? Then how would the world be if it was all good? You wouldn't know how to experience one or the other, or would you even care to experience one or the other? If because what they say, you can't miss what you never had. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? And also, and see, and I think that's why they come up with these phrases to subconsciously subdue us. You know what I'm saying? You can't miss what you never had. Or ignorance is bliss, and things like that. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? They try to keep us docile and not knowing or uninterested in trying to know. You feel me? But yeah, man, it's a pretty interesting video on Judaism. Like I say, I like how they got into the political and the governmental part of it and things like that. I like a few of the names that they mentioned. You know what I'm saying? So, and within that, people can go down a rabbit hole. You feel me? And figure this out or figure that out. You ain't even really got to go deep in the rabbit hole when you hear certain names and things like that that's mentioned. Or just like even with the rabbi, you know what I'm saying, that they show, I forgot his name. Like I told you how he be on ancient aliens and now how they are saying that it's 7 earths and shit. Like, you feel me? You see what I'm saying? Like when you get into these religions and these different schools of thoughts, philosophy, and ideologies, you know what I'm saying? If you really study them, you feel me? You'll figure some shit out, man. It'll make you laugh, bro. You know what I'm saying? Even though Behold the Pale Horse by William Cooper had nothing to do with what you know what I'm saying, the actual video. But even with the alien shit about I said that the aliens claimed that they came down here and they gave us what we believe, and then scientists even believe that we have a worship gene in us. You feel me? So was that worship genes implanted in us by these so-called angels, Anunnakis, or space travelers that came down here, whatever the case may be? And you always hear these stories about space. I don't give a hell what religion. Now, even though and here go the killing part for me, man. Judaism, Catholicism, and Christianity, it kind of seemed like it's one and the fucking same, right? But it's just a few little tweaks. Because listen, because they all got fucking Bibles though, bro. They all read the same fucking thing. That's what be crazy. But they separate. And it'd be amazing, bro, how people go to back for these separate divisive, you know what I'm saying, divisive ideologies and principles, bro, when it's all one and the same, when it's one book. You feel me? Like, but everybody, but again, it's a lot of shit out here, man, that we ain't privy to, like the Gnostic writings and shit like that we'll probably never get a hold of. And now here lately, everybody is in an uproar about this so-called Ethiopian Bible, with these other variations in books and shit like that that's teaching you the Book of Jubilee, the Book of Enoch, and all this, saying wild shit. Even Mary Magdalene got a book. You feel me? But again, though, bro, like I tell people, man, we'll really never get the gist of these shits, man, because we don't speak the language. We don't speak Hebrew. We don't speak Masoretic Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? We don't speak Geese or guys, you know what I'm saying, to really read these motherfucking books or read these words and the way they meant to be. Actually, they're not even meant to be read. They meant to be hummed or spoken as a hymn, like mantras or things you're supposed to repeat to yourself over and over, like the laws of Mayat, the 142 principles. What is? I think it's a little bit more than that, but like with the 40, which is where they got the 10 Commandments from. You know what I'm saying? And things like that, because it's damn near verbatim, word for word. You feel me? But again, I keep trying to tell people, man, all this shit is regurgitated, man. It's just that's why they give us that saying, ain't nothing new under the sun. You feel me? And I believe that. Once in style, out of style, back in style, out of style. It's just how it go. It's just a reinvention, you know what I'm saying, of this shit, man. You feel me? So, we just got to be careful about, and when I say be careful about what we doing, you know what I'm saying? Listen, it might be good for you. You feel me? Like, I'm not knocking, and listen, we only knock things because, we taught to stray away from those things, or we thought those things are necessarily bad for us. But But shit, I'm gonna tell you Christianity bad for you. I'm gonna tell you Catholicism bad for you. I'm gonna tell you Islam is bad for you. I'm gonna tell you Judaism is bad for you. But that's just my opinion. But guess what? You go out and do it. But that's why I ask people, when they talk about Luciferians and Satanists and shit like that, or people who do them rituals, and people and see, and this is one of the craziest like the voodoo. I don't know why people always just equate voodoo with being the devil or bad shit. The voodoo has nothing to do. Voodoo don't got shit to do with a God, Jesus, devil, Moses, or none of that shit. That's actually a practice, you feel me, of your people. If you believe you are African American, because I'm from America, I ain't never been to Africa. I don't know why people keep saying that shit, you feel me? Because everybody that's a melanin ain't from Africa, but I digress on that. But even with the voodoo shit or hoodoo, people think that's like such a bad thing, bro. It's not, bro. It's not. You just don't understand. You feel me? Like, you're not a practitioner. I believe if a lot of people took the time out to understand, bro, you feel me? To be able to hypnotize yourself and put yourself in an intrinsic state, like, oh man, that shit, like, come on, man. Like, it's the same shit as the Holy Ghost. Right? I would compare it to, even though it's different, but if I had to compare it to something, I would say the same shit as the Holy Ghost. When a motherfucker gets speaking in tongue, you feel me? Or when a motherfucker get possessed, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit crazy, man. But these be interesting topics, man, and I like for people to chime in and tune in and you know what I'm saying, get an understanding of just what we doing over here on the channel on Sundays with the Bearded Tabernacle, man. So today we just watched a video on the historical value, well, not value, but the historical ideologies and principles of Judaism. It's pretty interesting. It was a short video, but pretty interesting. I had a question mark up there because I didn't quite know what I was going to actually go over and watch and partake in. You feel me? But at the last, you feel me? It was interesting. Two Wheels.
What's up, bro?
Okay. What you think of the video, Two Wheels? I know you go to church.
Yeah, well, now I got used to, but I go.
You say what?
Now I got used to, but I go.
Nah, man, you gotta fix your mic. You gotta come back off that motherfucker or something.
I bet I don't know.
Well, your brother stay on that motherfucking gang, don't he? Stay on that motherfucker, babe. That's his motherfucking pastime.
I said I used to, but not no. Not like I used to.
Okay, now you sound a lot better. But that ain't got nothing to do with it. Now I said what you think of the video. I thought you know what I'm saying, we see you ain't a church goer. I know because you said your mama pastor. You gotta know something.
I don't. I don't know. I don't know a lot, man. I just know what
Okay.
I've been taught, man.
Oh, shit. So what you been told?
About the good word, man.
So what about him? Tell me something about him.
Either say he came back. Like I can't discuss this right now, man.
Oh God, I ain't gonna put you on the spot. I got you. Well, man,
Yeah.
just like the many other folk, man, they'd have been lying to my boy too. Nah, I ain't gonna say that. No, that's a joke, y'all. That's a joke. Don't nobody get mad at me. But yeah, man, it was an interesting video, man. We talked about Judaism, man, and we got it in for a little minute, man. I like to play these videos. I did a lot more talking than I did on the last video, so hopefully people enjoy that. And got the gist of that. But I really don't like to stop and talk throughout the whole video. I like to let the people hear it first or something like that. But I know stop at maybe 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, but I knew, honestly, I knew I was going to stop this video quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? And speak on certain things and stuff like that. But not as much as I didn't do it as much as I thought I was. But I knew I was going to stop. You know what I'm saying? Stop this video and talk more. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. It was fun. It was educational. Hope it was enlightening to the people out there. I hope somebody got something from it. Or I hope it was interesting and and got someone to want to go study, research, look up and find out, you know what I'm saying, what Judaism is, and you know what I'm saying, look up some of these characters and people who played a part in Judaism, especially Josephus. He's like a primary source for scholars, or a go-to primary source for scholars when we talk about proving the validity of Jesus the Christ. You feel me? So he done wrote things down. He didn't had I believe it's called automatic writing, if I'm not mistaken, when something comes and invoke, you know what I'm saying, and take over him and possess him, and he just get to saying things and writing things down. So yeah, like, you know what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know how true that is, of course, because we know we wasn't around back then. We was definitely not around back then, but it's always interesting. At least to me anyway, man. I like this type of shit, learning, you know what I'm saying, broaden your horizons. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? This might not be an everyday topic of discussion or conversation, but if it comes up, you know what I'm saying, if you have out and about or whatever the case may be, watch the show and you could be like, oh man, whoop the bam, I heard that. You know what I'm saying? You can either say it out loud to keep a conversation going, or you can say it to yourself and go through your database and come up with a way that you know what I'm saying, want to respond to what you heard. So it's all a process, man. It's all a growing process, man. It's all a growing and learning process. And that's just, what I want my people to do, man. Continue to be great, continue to grow, continue to learn. You feel me? Ain't nobody better than nobody. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? I don't go for what religion, you know what I'm saying, the what religious belief or faith that you take part in, man. You should never think that you're above somebody because you're in a different religion. You know what I'm saying? We get enough of that with the colorism and racism that we got going on in the world. So we don't need it from, you know what I'm saying, from the peanut gallery too. You feel me? Man. But yeah, man. Dr. Chocolate is in the building. Doc, what's going on?
What's up? What's up, fam?
No, we got Doc in here. Look at Doc coming through. Yeah, Doc, we just got through watching the video, man. I had to, what I'm saying, bless the people with a video about Judaism and shit like that, man. It's a learning day. You know what I'm saying? After you know what I'm saying, a long weekend. Damn. What the fuck? After let me go. After a long weekend of foolishness, you know what I'm saying? We had to come in and, teach the folks. She said, I know it's Sunday. Hey, don't do me like that, Doc. Don't do that. I'm also, it's Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hey, so since you know it's Sunday, did you come over here to repent? Doc, did you come over here to repent? You know what I'm saying? For the things that happened yesterday. Let me stop before she cuss me out. I'm sorry. Let me I ain't mean to bring it up. Let me be my ass quiet, man. Let me be my ass quiet.
Come on, man.
Yeah, man. Let me be my ass quiet. I ain't trying to start nothing. I ain't trying to start shit. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man. If honestly though, what I will say, man, if the ladies can just, you know what I'm saying, come together, man, and figure it out, you know what I'm saying, that'll make me happy. You feel me? If the ladies can. Now, if y'all can't, that's cool too, but I would love for the ladies to come together and figure it out, man. And, you know what I'm saying? And just be like, we can be better than that. You know what I'm saying? We can be better than that. You know what I'm talking about? It might not ever happen, but, if she, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Wheels, Brian. She said, I know it's Sunday. I know what happens on Sunday. Hey, man. But yeah, so yeah, we just got to watching the video, Doc. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to inspire the people, man, open up the people's brains and shit like that, I think, after hearing a lot of foolishness, I think, I'm saying, sometimes it's needed to, I'm saying, take a break and, learn some shit or have a different opinion or you know what I'm saying, check out some different material and content. You know what I'm saying? Most definitely, man. Listen, man, hit that like button. And you know what I hate though, man? Sometimes, my audience on Sunday don't be as popular. Like, don't get me wrong, I know about Monday is slow, so but you know what I'm saying. But Sunday, from what I do, I know Sundays might not be, you know what I'm saying, too popular for certain individuals, but that's okay. You feel me? Hopefully we'll get to the point where, you know what I'm saying, we'll start getting that influx of of all different walks of life, you know what I'm saying, that want to engage in, you know what I'm saying, the different schools of thoughts and shit like that, you know what I'm saying. So we're gonna try to grow this Sunday, man, and make this Sunday thing a thing, man, because I be seeing a lot of other people, you know what I'm saying, do they little channels on this, that, and the third, or you know what I'm saying, do they little debates on religion and shit like that, you feel me? You know, I ain't necessarily trying to get into no debates, you feel me? But as far as the engagement, as far as the talking, as far as the trading resources and things like that, you know, I don't mind nobody coming up here speaking a piece. I encourage it actually. You know what I'm saying? It makes for a better show at times. You know what I'm saying? And when I say debate, and so I know a debate in a formal way, because any and all intellectual discourse is nothing but a debate. But I don't want it to be malicious. I don't want it to be taken, you know what I'm saying, in the wrong way. You feel me? You know, because some people, you know, oh man, you talking about all the, yeah, I know it's the internet. No motherfucker ain't here. It ain't gonna crash out on me. But I don't want to cause any emotional duress to anybody. You feel me? From my understanding and my views and my opinions on how I feel and my convictions and my beliefs. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, and that could be a lot for people. You know, that really can be a lot for people. That really can be a lot for people. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have a certain belief and you're trying to convey a message, and you know this person or that person might necessarily think that you're trying to push it on them and stuff like that. See, that's why I like to, you know, Sundays on the Tabernacle, that's why I like to attack it from all different various points of perception. You know, this week, you know, we're talking about Judaism. Last week it was about Norse mythology, and I hate the fact that we have to add mythology on it, because that's what, you know, because we centralize religion to only Christianity and Judaism and the Mohammedan. So, you know, once we centralized those three main religions and said that Abraham or Ibrahim or Abram was the father, you feel me? That central point of contention with those religions kind of kicked everything else to the side. You feel me? That's why, you know, everything is pagan, or everything is mythology, you know, when it comes to the Greeks, when it comes to the Romans, you know, when it comes to Norse, when we're talking about Odin, Thor, and things like that. And Odin is actually where they got the word God from, to put into the canon. You know, for those who don't know, you feel me? See, that's why I always teach and tell my people to get into the linguistics. If you get into the linguistics of this shit, you'll learn it. What's going on, Miss Shelly? How you doing, Miss Shelly? Oh, we got Taco. Yeah, man, Taco be slide, man. Taco done came over a few times, Miss Chocolate. I like Miss Taco, man. Miss
What's up?
Taco ain't,
What's up, Taco? What's up,
yeah,
Michelle?
Taco ain't like y'all, man. Taco nice, man. You know what I'm saying? Let me stop. Look. Hey, let me stop for Miss Taco show out. Oh shit. Oh, Miss Taco be nice, man. She come over, she speaks, she say hello a few times. She been on. She really ain't hit the panel or engaged in too much, but Miss Taco, you always welcome. You know what I'm saying? You know, my panel was always open. You know, for the goddesses to come chit chat. You feel me, and talk about it and everything. You know what I'm saying? We try to keep the BS to a minimum. I guess, but shit, I guess we don't. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Miss Jen? What's happening? Miss Jen, you know you late though. You late though, Miss Jen. I know you probably at work.
I thought she was already in the chat.
Nah, Brian, Fambo, because you know Fambo was up here with us earlier and shit. You feel me? Fambo, and Triple R, I forgot what the hell that mean. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I forgot what that mean. But yeah, man. Miss Jen, you missed it. You know what I'm saying? It was a short video, but it was a good video. You know what I'm saying? It started off with the school of thought, and then they got into, you know what I'm saying, the government and the politics of it and shit like that between Palestine and Israel and the Arabs, the Egyptians and shit like that, and you know what I'm saying, the modern day war and how they, you know what I'm saying, came about and shit like that. But yeah, man, like it was a real informative video. And what I do, and I'm going to tell y'all something. So when I find these videos, I try to research the person behind these videos who made these videos and shit like that, because I just don't be liking, like, because I think I did one on like the Sambo shit, and then that one was so full of quackery, bro. Don't get me wrong, it started off good, and then it just went into so much fucking foolishness. I'm like, oh wow, man, like why we gotta go that route? But I get it. But then I don't understand. But But I try to vet these videos, so when I put them out, you know what I'm saying, like, even if y'all want to go do y'all own research or use this video as a point of contention, like, a lot of times, you know, I try to find from my own understanding, not maybe necessarily personal belief, because I don't believe in a lot of this shit, but you're just from the understanding of research and the things that's pushed or the things that's peer reviewed. I try to find those videos with that type of information in it, because that's what connects the masses. You know what I'm saying? Those type of videos connect the masses. You know, those type of videos, you know, bring those type of individuals together versus what the fuck, like, because I want to do a video on sheiks, motherfucker, like sheiks or sheikh or whatever the fuck it is. It's a religion that's inside of India that's not Hindu. You feel me? Sikh is either Sikh or Sek or whatever, but it's another one as well. Like, I want to get into those, so you know that's why I say that's what we like to do, man. You know, we started off on Christianity. You feel me? You know, we got into the Quran. You feel me? You feel me? And also we done read surahs. Man, it's just a lot of things that I like to do on Sunday. That's a lot. She said, "You best believe I'm gonna rewatch it for sure." Yeah, it was good. It was good, Miss Jen, and I was a little bit more vocal throughout the video. I actually, shit, as soon as the video came on, I had to stop the shit, man. But we got it, because a lot of, don't get me wrong, like I say, even though I've had these videos and a lot of shit, but you know, it's still their truth. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't take the time out. We ain't taking these trips. We ain't going to see this shit. We ain't digging. Ain't nobody funding no group of black archaeologists to go dig and find out what's going on with the world. Because if we go do that shit and we find out the wrong motherfucking thing, they gonna need to take it, kill us. Come on, man. Y'all know how this shit go. Y'all know how this shit go. And what's crazy is it's so motherfucking dangerous, bro, that you gotta eliminate us, like, cause we don't even fucking listen. So if you did have a group of motherfuckers, bro, that came back and brought this shit back to the hood or to the people, man, we ain't listening to him or her no damn way. So I don't even know what you did that for. But it's that deep. And they that scared that if we knew, or we can come to some type of collectiveness, I'm sorry, let me just say it, some type of conscious collectiveness. You feel me? Some type of conscious collectiveness. That's a collectiveness outside of the physical. Now we getting metaphysical, and now we getting spiritual. You feel me? If we can consciously come together as a collective, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? We can better move forward with our bulletin points and with our and with the things that we want to happen, so we can move this needle for our people to be, you know what I'm saying, even greater and steady advance, educational wise, financial wise, political wise, economical wise. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? It's all for a greater good. You feel me? Because listen, and don't get me wrong, I ain't knocking people, because you always need people. People are going to always need people. But in order to sustain some shit that we want, because motherfuckers is always out here talking about some type of form of reparations or trying to get it from a motherfucker. No, if we had that conscious collectiveness, and we were able to get together and formulate ideas and bring them into manifestation. With the proper work and with the proper mindset and with the proper, you know what I'm saying, balance of energy and vibration and frequency. You feel me? It's not nothing that we couldn't fucking amount and amass to in the motherfucking United States Corporation of America. But we so stuck on the psychological shit. And guess what, y'all? And when I say we stuck, and I'm gonna include myself in this, but even if I'm broke, even if I break the psychological constraints, you know what I'm saying, that's on my mental, right? You feel me? Even me being one person that breaks it, you got to understand, like, it's more than just me. That's why I said a conscious collectiveness. You know what I'm saying? And it's not just me, it's other people who may have broke or got away from, but we just so drawn in as a whole that it slows down the whole progress of a motherfucking nation. You feel me? And listen, man, and I know people gonna say, I mean, you're not a fucking African American, man. You're fucking American. Every fucking black person that come from no fucking Africa, and we wasn't slaves. Just like they brought motherfuckers from Africa here, they took us and from here and took us there. You feel me? Like, and that's why, you know, and a motherfucker used to always tell me this, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And I used to not like that shit. Because I felt as though if all melanin brothers and sisters united on any plane, I don't give a fuck where you from, as long as you have melanin in your skin and you was dark like me, there shouldn't have been no reason that we can't unite, that we can't be together, that we can't fight for a cause and have a cause. And who gives a fuck if you spoke a different tongue or a dialect within the cause, but a person that's going to represent us, a person that we're going to push, a person that we're going to protect, you feel me, a person that's going to have our interests, and when he get in that bitch, you feel me, we're going to do everything for this person, so that if a motherfucker came up and tried to do anything to deter his mind, we so much right there, goddammit, that ain't none of that going to happen. But we don't do that. You feel me? Even with this fake ass black caucus, and not to get off the religion shit, but even with this fake ass black caucus that we got, they don't do shit for the people, man. They don't do shit, and they can't do shit for the people because of the way the Constitution was written and worded. You know what I'm saying? The way that motherfucking piece of paper and ink that was put on that piece of paper was constructed was fucking ingenious by these so-called motherfuckers that we call our forefathers, who are from England. These motherfuckers are not even from America. Y'all gotta realize that shit. The Rothschilds, bro, he was a British fucking Jew, bro. Why is he responsible for the education system over here? Because a lot of motherfucking criminals and crooks, and you best believe some of his people was on that motherfucking boat when they dropped them off, and then they got over here, bro, and they fought for their motherfucking revolution against, you know what I'm saying? Even with the Boston Tea Party, I'm not gonna get into that because that's something I won't speak on, the Boston Tea. But it was people already over here, bro. Even bro, oh my God, I gotta start saving this shit. When I come across this shit, or when I'm researching and studying shit, or just taking pictures and shit, like, bro, but so hold on, but you even got the writings from the expeditions of Lewis and Clark, in the rivers, and what the fucking people that we call so-called fucking Indians in America, or Native Americans, because I want to try to be politically correct, or indigenous people of the land, man. They wasn't in no motherfucking Africa. He was over here, and this shit was and they like, oh shit, these motherfuckers look black. You feel we're gonna keep it modern. Oh, these motherfuckers look black. What the fuck is this about? You feel me? All that damn, these motherfuckers already over here. Like, what the fuck you know what I'm saying? But by the time I'm gonna keep it 100. By the time they realized they was motherfucking stealing, it was too late. They probably didn't give a fuck by then. Shit, once you there, you got to go all the way to fucking, or come back as a traitor, or you got to have one hell of an explanation to tell the general of why you didn't complete your motherfucking mission. You feel me? Oh shit. She said, I'm sorry, Ms. Jean. She says, have you ever done some research on Yoruban beliefs and traditions? I know about the Yoruba. You know what I'm saying? The Yoruba, the Wolofs. I know Mbutus. I know a little bit the Zulus. I know a little bit about the Orishas and stuff like that. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I know that's where a lot of y'all traditions and shit come from too over there on that island. A lot of them Caribbean islands get their shit from the different African, well, certain parts of the islands, certain parts of the regions of the Caribbean get their philosophical or school of thought understanding from a lot of diasporas over there from the continent of Africa. You feel me? And I tell people, you know, I try to get people, and I encourage people to learn more African diasporas. She said, yes, yeah. You come on, Miss Jen, you know goddamn well I know about. Yeah, it ain't too much of shit that I don't know about. The only thing I don't really know about y'all, and I'm gonna keep it 100, is and I'm trying to get into it, because the only reason I'm trying to get into it so I can build a better relationship with my daughter, because my daughter going to school to be a doctor and shit. So like biology and a little bit more of science. Like my brother's a scientist, but like biology and shit like that, I'm trying to get more into that type of shit and learn more about that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Because my daughter trying to be a doctor and just get into, you know, a little bit more chemistry and shit like that, and, you know, biological sciences and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, do that now. But back, I'm sorry, but back to the research. Yeah, man. You know, Ms. Jen, yeah, of course, you know what I'm saying, I'm tapped in with all that. You feel me? But like I was saying, I try to get people to, especially my melanated brothers and sisters, I try to get people to, you know what I'm saying, and here you go, because what I'm going to say, I try to get people to engage more with the African diasporas. But guess what? You are already doing that. When you're practicing Christianity, when you're practicing Judaism, when you're practicing Mohammedan, or Catholicism, Christianity, when you practicing those things, you are practicing African diaspora, but a perverted version and added shit to it, because all these things have a foundational base within the diasporas. All of them. There's no religion or no place on this planet that doesn't have any type of influence from, you know what I'm saying, the central part or the central continent that's rooted to the ocean floor. And for people who don't know this, and I know I didn't say this once before, Africa is the only continent that's still connected by land to the ocean floor. You feel me? And that's deep. You feel? I guess that's why they call it the motherland. All right, man. Anyway, we're not going to get into all that because I don't necessarily think it's the motherland per se. Like I say, man. You know, I really do think. Or that reason. Well, because, you know, again, I'm not going to say civilization and creation started all at the same time. You feel me? From these different people. You feel me? Because if you go to different, like I said, if you go to different things, especially with the Anunnaki, you know what I'm saying, with all the fallen angels, and, you know, they coming down here and they separated and went their own way and they started creation. I don't know who created who first or who did what. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if shit was copy, carved, did they come over and held, You know what I'm saying? It could be a lot of different variations. Even though we can get a baseline story, but it's still a lot of different variations of conceptions or perceptions that we can have of doing these creations and how things got created and how things came about. If you believe in those type of stories and things like that, you know what I'm saying? But that shit wild, man. The centralization of Christianity, and these three Abrahamic faiths, Mohammedan, Christianity, and why and Judaism, and again, I don't even know why Catholicism is not a separate entity on its own, but you know they're going, because if Christianity and Judaism is separate, and I believe the only reason they separate is because Judaism doesn't believe that Jesus is a prophet. You feel me? And the Christians do. You feel me? And then the Pope is supposed to be the son, or then Vicarus, the son of God. And man, listen, y'all, all of that. See, that's why I say so. A lot of this shit is crazy, bro. But it's interesting. I'm not gonna lie, man. When we sit down, well, even sometime, bro, when I sit here and watch these motherfucking videos, bro, I always figure out some shit and learn some different shit and be like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? You know, I heard that, or I made it, seen it and glimpsed at it and maybe overlooked it. So sometimes when I go back and watch these videos, man, it should be enlightening to me. You know what I'm saying? I like doing this shit with y'all and learning and flowing and going at the same fucking time. You know what I'm saying? And doing it together. You feel me? And I hope y'all do too as well. You know, and again, like I gotta continuously say this, that there's no harm, no foul. You know what I'm saying? There's no point of contention, no malicious, no point of contention, no maliciousness, no ill will, you know what I'm saying, inner manner type of mindset involved when we do these videos or when we do our bearded tabernacles. And again, like I say, man, anybody can hit the panel, anybody can come up here and talk. You know, I encourage or I employ people, you know, if you got a preacher, a pastor, a priest, an imam, a rabbi, or whatever type of whatever, invite them, have them to come up here, man. And I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm going to ask questions. We can have a conversation. We can build. We can show resources. I'm not trying to fight with them. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. If I can get an understanding, and again, I want a logical understanding. I don't want no fucking shit. No, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna rock with the spiritual side because I fuck with the spiritual shit. But you know, man, observation. You feel me? And I want a motherfucker who gonna be true, whether it's a man or a woman. That's gonna be true to the link and the crossover between religion and science is how they one and one. You know what I'm saying? We got to always remember that. You know what I'm saying? Just like the separation of church and state. The church was the motherfucking state. You feel me? That's why they separated that shit. You feel me? Because the Pope and all these other motherfucking clergymen was having too much motherfucking power. Because at one point in time, and nobody in the motherfucking kingdom read but the priest and the motherfucker, maybe the king. You feel me? Maybe. And sometimes the generals of the army, but he wasn't ever really, because that's why they always should have a motherfucking clergyman, you know what I'm saying, when they were sending them letters, to read the letters to those people. You feel me? Man, I seen somewhere where they was talking about fucking like bounty, mercenary, fucking religious motherfuckers that were messengers and shit like that. And they used them to send messages back and forth because it was safer for them and they could travel. And, you know what I'm saying, 9 times out of 10, they wouldn't be unalive so quick or killed so quick like, you know what I'm saying, a regular soldier or a regular scout or something like that would. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know how true that is, but, you know, something I read, something I came across. But I can believe it. I mean, if we're strategizing and we want to talk logistically about logistics about, you know what I'm saying, that time frame, that time period and how things was going, yeah, I could see that. I most definitely could see that. You feel me? Hell yeah. Send the Pope, send the preachers, send the priests. So what are they at? Motherfucker ain't gonna do none of them. Because 9 times out of 10, guess what? They all had the same belief system any fucking way. So a motherfucker could pass and walk through. Not all the time, but for the most part of the time. You know what I'm saying? He's the clergy. Motherfucker always walk. Damn, man. Yeah, man. But other than that, man, I had a good time with y'all tonight, man. We've been on about 2.5 hours. Shit. I'll probably give it a few minutes, man. If anybody want to come up, man, and say something, speak on something. If you was in the building, if not, man, make sure y'all tap in and hit one of the memberships to the channel. Join the channel. Appreciate everybody for sliding and coming through. Big ups to Fambo for popping up with me tonight. Big ups to all my kings and goddesses as moderators on the channel. Also, I want to shout out my co-host, man, L Boogie, Roscoe P, and my co-host with the most is my little one, AJ. I love you, son. Big shout out to all my Twitch and Kick supporters and my Facebook supporters. Don't forget to give me a like, follow, and a share over there. And big ups to all my followers, fans, viewers, and subscribers over here on this YouTube thing, man. Ain't nothing like that. Ain't nothing like the tube. You feel me? Hey, motherfucker be wild, man. You get all type of experiences on here, man. We try to use this thing for a good thing. We try to use this YouTube thing to push our platform for positive and productive things. Sometimes it be a little rough. But you know, we try to shake that shit off and come back better than ever. You feel me? With the little rough shit that might pop up. But yeah, man, big ups to all y'all, man. And like I tell y'all every night, man, without y'all, it would be no us on Build a Conversation. So from the bottom of my heart to the top of my mind, you know what I'm saying? Flowers to moderators, flowers to all the supporters on every platform that I stream from. Flowers to everybody that come up to the panel and support. You feel me? And rock out with your boy. You feel me, man? Hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the channel. Share me out, man. And man, listen and fuck with your boy, man. I know it's Sunday, but those that fuck with us, fuck with us. Those that don't, fuck with us anyway, man. Y'all know how it be. And then we can't forget about, man, my most gracious, you feel me, panel security, man, who been on time for the past couple of days, you know what I'm saying? AKA Two Wheels, AKA Hot Wheels, AKA Vroom Vroom, Mr. Vroom Vroom, my bad, AKA Get Your Girl, Let Her Sit on My Lap, AKA Told motherfucking 31 Ocho, and don't forget the Ocho. You're gonna be the first motherfucker to make me stand up and slap the shit out you. AKA the motherfucking AKA, man. My panel security 2 Wheels in the building with me, man.
Yes, sir.
Man, love little bro when he come through, man. Then for the most part, man, you feel me? Oh, AKA the silencer. I know he be silent for the most part, man, but you know, I appreciate 2 Wheels for support, man. I want to say thank you to Two Wheels for allowing me to make you comfortable enough with just like being sitting over here on my panel, because I know how you go, you know what I'm saying, and you sit on the ladies panels and you support, you feel me? So, you know what I'm saying, I want to thank you for allowing me to, you know what I'm saying, to have that chance to even getting the, you know, opportunity for us to meet, to open up, you know what I'm saying, and be cool, that you know what I'm saying, find yourself welcome and worthy, not worthy, but welcome and finding me worthy rather of coming to sit up on the panel and just shooting the shit and chilling with us, you feel me? So big ups to Two as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anytime, bro. Anytime, man.
You know it, man. You know it. But before we get up out of here, man, people, man, I appreciate y'all. Two Wheels, close us out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Mind your business, man. That's the best business, man. Mind your own business, man.
Hey, boy, hey, for the past 4 days, boy, you been on motherfucking point. Mind your business, man. That's the best business to have. You feel me? Like, cause minding other folks' business, getting all in other folks' shit, and then because a lot of motherfuckers on here like to throw the rock and hide their hand. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Like to throw the rock and hide their hand, man. You feel me? And guess what? I might have been guilty of it as well. I'm not gonna sit here and say like I'm innocent and I'm perfect. And
Oh
I don't
yeah,
do
yeah. Me too. Me
you know
too.
what I'm saying? But when motherfuckers get up here and throw rocks and hide their hand and think ain't shit happen to them or think ain't nobody supposed to say nothing to approach them, that's the shit that be blowing me and getting me. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it be like, what the fuck you be on the same? But anyway, man. Yeah, man, mind your business, man. Listen, mind the business that pays you, and that's your business. You hear me? Because my business, two-wheel business, anybody else business, that shit don't pay you, man. That shit only you. Listen, you just giving that shit. You allowing that shit to live in your mind rent free. You feel me? Rent free. Motherfucker ain't paying you a damn thing, but always on your motherfucking mind, stressing you out, man. So we got to get away from that. We got to stop that. And again, man, listen, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. We got something going on every day of the strong, man. Sunday to Saturday, man. Make sure y'all tune in, tap in. Now, usually 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central Time. If it ain't 9, it's gonna be 10. Or if I'm out, it'll be a little later. But guess what, man? We live every night. You feel me? No matter what happened or what going on, unless I'm sick or tired or sleep. But other than that, man, we live every night. Like I say, man, Sunday through Saturday, man, we got something going on every day of the strong. Bring the family, bring the kids, bring your friends, man. Tune in, tap in to Bearded Conversation. And with that being said, y'all know what it is, man. All superheroes don't wear capes, but they still need their theme music. But before I go, don't forget to keep everybody in your thoughts, your prayers, your views, and meditations. Let's once again keep everyone in your thoughts, your prayers, your views, and meditations. And lastly, family, keep everyone in your thoughts, your prayers, views, and meditations. And don't forget those 5 key components of life. That's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. That's love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. Hey, and we out, y'all. You feel me? Hold on. Let me see what Miss Jen say before we get up out of here. She said, when it comes to the first original natives and ancestors' beliefs on the spiritual tradition and their practices, they're actually weren't considered a religion. To them, it was just faith. Same difference, Miss Jen. She says, what the fuck? She said, what the fuck that come from now? 2 wheels. Damn, you don't be saying much. But when you do, it's a lot. That's what I'm saying. 2 wheel for the past 2 days, man. When he closed us out, 2 wheels been on point. He said, "Oh, I'm definitely rewatching this." Oh yeah, it was a good one. You know what I'm saying? I was a little bit more vocal, like y'all asked, Miss Jen. And of course, you know what I'm saying, when you rewatch it, I know you're gonna let me know, you know what I'm saying? Okay, well, you could have shut the fuck up here, you could have spoke here, or okay, well, I like what you did. No. I don't mind. I don't mind. It's like because a lot of times I don't think people, because the way I am, I don't, and the way I talk, I don't think people think I be hearing them when they be saying, and they want to repeat shit and keep saying shit and keep trying to, like, bro, I'm listening to y'all. I hear what y'all saying. I'm getting what you're saying, but just listen to me. It's a conversation. I just can't sit here and just listen to y'all. I gotta say something back, type shit. You feel me? And I think when I say something back, people think I'm trying to combat or go against, like, I you know what I'm saying? But or maybe not. It just could be miscommunication. But in any event, when you rewatch Miss Jen, I know you're gonna tell me, you know what I'm saying, if I communicated enough or whatever the case may be. Because I do wanna, get this bearded tabernacle with the videos down packed. Now, when I ain't playing no video and I'm just up here and I pick a subject matter and I'm talking about it, that's different. Because I could do that as well. But with these videos, I do understand that people like for them to get explained, and some of them like to have commentary or expository commentary, you know what I'm saying, upon the video, especially with these type of videos, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, because if you coming in and you ain't never heard of this shit and you new to it, you're gonna want to know, well, motherfucker, tell me what the fuck this is. You feel me? Like, I don't know what the fuck. So I got what they were saying. I just thought everybody knew fucking Norse mythology, because like, who the fuck? Well, I guess some people don't, but everybody know the Zeus, the Thors, well, see, now when you get to the Freyas and the Fridas and all them shits, and yeah, I know a lot of people in the Iliad. I know a lot of people don't, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? I get that part of it, but I like for them. I wanted them to hear that first. So now, if I ever go back and do it again, for some of the people that were in here, you feel me? If I ever go back to it and we talk about it or whatever, or if I'm talking about it and I'm like, oh, watch this, motherfucker. Be like, oh yeah, I remember when you walked the band. Okay, now he talking about it type shit. So that's what I was trying to do, but I got what they were saying. You know what I'm saying? He said, I usually enjoy, she said, I'm sorry, I said he. I'm sorry. She says, I usually enjoy Sunday Tabernacles a lot. I was so mad that I missed y'all tonight. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, no, it was good though, Miss Jen. The video was a short video, but like I said, it was good. It was one on Judaism and stuff like that. Now, they mentioned the Ashkenazi Jews, but they did mention the Khazar Jews on this one. Now Jews got different variations of Jews too, y'all. So y'all, and matter of fact, I think that's what we're gonna do next Sunday. We're gonna I'm gonna try to find something on the different types of Jews. This shit is crazy, bro, because they don't get along. What I did, this shit is wild. And these are the things that we supposed to conceptualize our lives from. You know what I'm saying? These people who do these things, this shit is wild. You know what I'm saying? She says, yeah, you got to make it simpler for them. She said, friends on the back of the yellow bus. Yeah. With the short yellow bus, yeah. So, you know, a lot of them motherfuckers, yeah, you feel me? I know Miss Jen. But I swear though, man, to y'all, man, you know, just for me being me and the type of audience that I have, and I know I talk shit about y'all. What the only talk shit about the ones that's my fam that's always here, like Miss Jen, Cito, you know what I'm saying, Monk. Like, yeah, you know, I feel as though I can do that with y'all. Like, my new people, I don't try to do that to the new people. I ain't really know them. I ain't build no relationship with them. I ain't really, not saying that I'm not trying to get to know them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's going to take time, but y'all, I know y'all. So when I'm like, when y'all think I'm angered or frustrated at y'all, it don't be anger and frustration at y'all. It's just because I know y'all. So it's like, oh, shut the fuck up. I'll get the fuck up out of here. What the fuck are you talking about? You feel me? Because it's y'all. You know what I'm saying? Well, when there's other people, you know, I don't usually, you know what I'm saying, get out on them like that. You know, we try to be a little bit more heartwarming and inviting and getting them in over here first, you feel, before we, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Miss Jen, rewatching. Anybody that's just caught the stream late. We just did a stream about Judaism. It got into the video actually got into the religious aspect of it, the spiritual aspect of it, the political and governmental part of it too. It was short and brief, but nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? You know, straight to the point, resources. And again, any of the things that I play, any things that I speak, any things that I say when it comes to this type of information can always be looked up. It can always be researched. And if you don't know where to start and if you need some help, I can do that as well. So with that being said, man, don't forget 5 key components of life: love, peace, respect, motivation, and inspiration. And don't forget the most important part of that. That's that glue. And that's that support. So don't forget to E40 that thing and sprinkle a little support on top, because a little support go a long way, y'all. Hey, man, with that being said, man, to all my beautiful people, all my superheroes, and all my Beardonians, man, you know what I'm saying? It's time for that beautiful theme music, y'all. Peace. Guys. Yes, my name is Cito. Guys. You already know that, dog. This the hottest show you gon' find around. If young niggas ain't known, you need to ask around. This is bearded conversation. It's all love and no hate. Around here we good, but we aim to be great. Hit back and debate. Enjoy your Scooby snacks. Around here we just talk about this and all that. We talk real life every day and every night. And if you need to clear the air, you can bring your wife. We got church on Sunday, that's on the west side. We got virtual reality, kids you scared of outside. See, we got what you need, and that's a guarantee. The best thing about it is absolutely free. Bearded conversations, all love ain't no haters. Enjoy Scooby snacks while we get back to the baby. Don't matter if you black or white, who you think is wrong or who is right. These are just opinions, some inside from a different walk of life. Yeah, see, my name is Cito. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, buy this man a coffee. Don't forget to lead over follow. Don't forget to love those that love you. And don't ever forget that you ain't never been richer than you are right now.
Estamos
video, man. Like the video, man. Thumb up the video, man.
Before we get all the way up out of here, y'all, hey, listen, man, when we come together, man, we always meet on a level. Once we're in each other's presence, may we always be humble and plumb. And when we leave each other's presence, may we always part on the square. Some more to be, some more to be, some more to be, so may it be, family. Peace, y'all. And this for you, Miss Jen. Hey, same brown time, same brown channel. Y'all come brown now, you hear? And don't forget, man, you talk brown to me, I will talk brown back to you, man. Peace, y'all. Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love.